All right. Welcome to UStride. Let's do the first things first. Let's not do a repeat of yesterday. Welcome to UStride. Hold on. Let's do the first things first. Hey. Let's not do a repeat. Stop that. There we go. Can you guys hear me? You should be able to. I just heard myself. And shouldn't be seeing myself. We should be seeing this. So, how's it going, guys? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Let's not repeat what happened last time. Oh, man. That was interesting last time. So are you guys able to hear me? What's going on, Man on Move? Sorry. Man on Move. How's it going? Very good. I removed the OBS. I will learn that another day. StreamYard seems to have everything I need, so let's just use it. Hopefully nobody calls me during this live. I put it in airplane mode, so hopefully we're good. But guys, welcome to the live. This is not going to be a long live, but it's going to be long enough so that we can hang out. Don't feel rushed or anything. Thank you for tuning in. Today, let me just look at some of your comments. So first of all, if there is someone on here that wants to be part of the live, okay, where you can just pay attention to the comments while I talk, and then you can point out certain important comments. Let me know. I'll send the link or whatever, and we're gonna try to make this as interactive as possible. So here's the link. If you feel so inclined, please do so. But what I really want on the live is someone who could join, who knows about suspension and who knows about batteries. Okay, you don't have to be smart, you don't have to be nothing crazy like that, but someone who just understands the basics. You know what I mean? The basics, moderate, so kind of moderate understanding of batteries versus motor. Because the problem with the S18. Okay, let me just introduce what we're going to be talking about today. I don't want to just jump into it. So what you're seeing here is a beautiful beast of a machine. Let's just give it to Kingsong, guys. Let's give it to Kingsong. They did a freaking amazing job. There are other companies who should have done this way before Kingsong. I didn't see this coming. I forgot the guy's name. What's his name again? He lives in Massachusetts. Okay, trivia. There's a guy in Massachusetts. He's an EUC rider. He usually rides with a stick and a helmet. And he talks like Italian almost. You know what I mean? Yeah. Do you guys remember who that guy is? Anybody in the comments? I'm trying to remember what his name is. Anyway, the point is he brought up a long time ago. He mentioned he had a rendering. Not Obama? No, man, he sounds Italian. He had a test once of the blanket because he was testing out, the efficient, if a blanket could, protect or protect your house from an EUC fire. What the frick is his name? Anyway, I don't remember. Go George go. Okay, cool. George go. So he had a rendering of the KS20. Okay, let me look to you guys. He had a rendering of the KS20 a while back, and it was green with some black accents. I think he called it KS20 at the time, but we were like, wow, this looked real. But then later on, we found that it was fake. You know what I'm saying? Either way, it was a nice little rendering, even for that time. Considering it had no suspension or anything like that, still looked pretty good. You know what I mean? So Kingsong came out with this. This is crazy. This is revolutionary. This is revolutionary, not just for the looks, which is what we're gonna get into today. Yes, George go. Thank you, George go. The point is, what Kingsong has done is revolutionary. And I don't say that just for the design of the wheel. The design is 100% on point, man. Like, seriously, wow. You have the black piece right here. Okay, let me see if I can share this with you guys. So let me see, share. All right, let me just share this with you guys. All right. So what you're looking at, right, is a beast. This is a beast. Let's just absorb what has happened. What has happened? Okay, so what they've done, and they've learned that from the S18, is they've taken everything apart. They've literally destroyed everything and started from scratch, clearly. Because if we were to put this side by side with the S18, for example, where can we go? Maybe if we go to Ewheels. If we can put this side by side with the S18, come on, S18. Is it still being sold? Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's still being sold. And that in itself was a revolutionary wheel for its time, like for real, for real. That was amazing. That was, oof. I mean, just the rendering looked great. But anyway, let's put them side by side, and I want to compare something. And then this is how we're going to start the show. Okay, this is how we're going to start the show. We're going to compare some major improvements that they've made. Okay. Okay, so this is this one, and this is that one. Okay. So from the bat, we're looking at two amazing wheels, one amazing concept. So it's two amazing wheels, one amazing concept. And the concept is to enclose the suspension or embody the suspension in the EUC. Whereas if we compare that to the EX, for example, the EX was from Gotway, or if we even compare it to the InMotion V11, do you guys agree that the V11 and the InMotion V11 and the Gotway EX were two great wheels? Yes, they were great wheels. But there's two terms I'm going to introduce tonight. And people with suspension already know this. I'm just learning about it. So I'm not acting like I know what I'm talking about. I just read up a little on it tonight, and I found it interesting. So what you're looking at here are true suspension wheels, true suspension, because you have real travel. Whereas with the, here's another trivia, guys. Can anybody tell me what was the travel distance of the V11 suspension and the travel distance of the the V11? I keep mixing these things. What was the travel travel of the suspension of the V11 and the Gotway EX? Can anybody tell me? Can anybody tell me? What was the travel distance of the suspension of the V11 and the Gotway EX? I must be tired or something. Wow. Anybody know? Anybody? Matthew, 7. What is that? What do you mean 7? What was the travel? What was the suspension travel of the V11? I think the EX was around 80. I'm gonna look it up in a little bit. EX was about no. I'm talking about the travel. 1.5 inches. Okay, I'm thinking millimeters. Because they mentioned it in millimeters. So you said centimeters. So let me try to convert that. 7 centimeters to millimeters. Yeah, you're close. Yeah, 7 millimeters, 7 centimeters in millimeters is 70. So I guess, yeah, it's a factor of 10. Like, it's just, yeah, 70 millimeters. It's actually 80. It was around 80 millimeters. What was the V11? Do you guys remember what the V11 travel was? The S18 was 100 millimeters. So by literally, that wheel destroyed both the V11, the S18 that is, destroyed both the V11 and the Gotway EX. 10 millimeters. Yep, thank you. Yeah, I should know that. That's true. That is true. S20 is 100. That's right, 130. S20 is 130. So thank you very much. So this is what I wanted to introduce today, is that the fuss with the EX at the time. And the funny thing is, I wrote it for a tiny bit guys, I'm tired. I'm trying to bear with me, okay? When I went to Black Cobra to test it out, I didn't really feel a difference, which means that suspension was linear. linear suspension. We're going to get into that in a little bit. So the main difference, well, there were many differences, but the main difference between the V11 and the S18, because I put the V11 and the EX in the same category, regardless of their travel. Because both the EX, correct me if I'm wrong, please, which is why I wanted someone who understood suspension to get on here. But correct me if I'm wrong. The travel or the design, the concept of the suspension with the V11 and the EX were pretty much similar. They were linear technologies, right? So that means that they don't change, for the most part, how they operate based on what terrain you're on. Okay, is that correct? Whereas the non-linear suspension, which is the S18, correct me if I'm wrong again, the non-linear suspension from the S18 was what made it revolutionary. Okay, that's what really made it revolutionary. So for the person who's just looking at the wheel, the look made it revolutionary. But when I read deeper and I found out what's going on here, it was the non-linear part of it. So what that means is you can dial in this thing in a way that makes it proper both for on-road and off-road, so you won't have to do too much. Whereas with the EX and the V11, it's air. It was pretty much all air, right? So this is air too, but there's like shocks. See, there's springs right here, okay, or whatever. I don't know what this is. Hydraulics. I don't know what this is. So fast forward to this one, the KS20. This is a true suspension wheel. This is suspension too, okay? With what was it? 130 millimeter travel. I'm sorry, less than that. 100 millimeter travel. The mountain bikers, okay, when they use their bikes and they go off-roading and they do all these things, they really care about linear versus non-linear. It really determines how they ride and how they perform. So when I saw this spring in the back of the S20, I'm like, why did they do that? I mean, it's making it look bigger in a way, but why would they add that? Why would they add a spring plus this little thing on the top? I don't know what it's called, like a chamber or something. What is that for? Well, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna have these guys explain it, okay? And we can get back into the topic. Let me see some of your comments, okay? Okay, let's see. Yep. Okay, EX was like 1.5 inches. That's 1.5 inches. Okay, so you're saying the EX was close to 100? I don't think so. Not 100. That would be what? 1.5 inches. Why can't I do this? 15? No, that's not right. The EX wasn't. No, the EX was 80. The EX was 80 millimeters, I believe. Actually, if we go to Ewheels, I had it set up, but I'm going to have these guys explain it because I really want us to understand what's going on here. See, some people are going to buy this wheels and they just buy it for buying because it looks cool. But for someone like me who's now getting into off-roading, it kind of matters what's going on with these wheels because I don't want to judge a wheel based on what I don't understand. You know what I mean? So the battery, okay. Let me see this guy. Okay, so Senator Perry, the battery in it is 30 SP. Okay, so that's a 4P. Okay, 30 cells in series, 4 of those strings in parallel at 4.2 volts each. Now, it's interesting you say that it's 4P. Isn't 6P better in terms of current output? Correct me if I'm wrong, because 100-volt wheels have a 6P configuration, right? Or is it 4P? I don't remember. Can you guys correct me? What does a 100-volt have in terms of battery configuration? Is it a 4P or a 6P? I think I don't remember on the top of my head. Can anybody tell me? Yeah, no, I understand. You see, the thing is, okay, so this Daniel Ribeiro is saying buying it because of 126 volt suspension is whatever. 126 probably great for cruising at 40 without cutting out. Correct. But do you guys remember? I don't remember the source I had. Is the 84 volt 6P or 4P? Do you guys remember? Or what was the 100 volt? Was the 100 volt 4P or 6P? Can anybody answer this? I'm trying to get to a point here. I don't remember the source I had. Let me just go down your comments, and then we'll get into these guys explaining the difference between linear and non-linear suspension. Okay, I've got just one question about S20. Is this wheel going to be in? Okay, this is from Nasim. I've got one question about the S20. Is this wheel going to be enough secure to never have a motherboard failure or something like that? That's a very good question. You know, they have come up with what is called the Hall sensor less software technology. That has nothing to do with the board per se, because the Hall sensors is in your wheel. So at least they're heading in that direction. So with Kingsong, right, here's what they have. They have tilt back, which helps with not cutting out. And that tilt back feature is non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. It's not like Gotway where you could turn it off. So that's safety right there. Not only is it safety because, you know, it forces you to pull back, but I hope they include this in this wheel, because at 43 miles an hour, that would be beautiful. I just hope one of my questions, which ties in with your question, is that I hope that the tilt back doesn't cut in a lot sooner, like 38 miles per hour, for example. That would be terrible. You know what I mean? I hope it's 43 miles an hour, and then there's a buffer like 2, 3, 4 miles more where you can actually ride the tilt back. You know what I mean? Like at 43 miles an hour. So that's one thing that's good. So you have the tilt back, which is non-negotiable, and then you have the Hall sensor less technology. So that also aids in non-cut. Now, I don't hear a lot of that happening. I have been on group rides. I was on one group ride in New York where one guy did cut out. It wasn't due to his Hall sensor, but when he crashed, his wheel could not balance anymore. And that was because the Hall sensor came out. So that was a Gotway wheel. Okay, that was an MSP. And Hall sensor is very important to keep your wheel balanced. So that's two. That's two things that they've come up with. The third thing they've come up with to help you not cut out randomly is the 12 MOSFETs, which leads into another question that I had. What is that? Like, I understand that they have, guys, chime in about this 12 MOSFETs. Anybody knows about this 12 MOSFETs that they were talking about? So if we look at the specs in a little bit, you'll see that there's 12 MOSFETs. Now, my question is, are the additional, how many MOSFETs are actually functional during the operation of the wheel? Is it 4? Is it 6? I have no idea how the board is. I haven't seen the board. Because that will determine whether or not they decided to create this as a redundant system. So a redundant system means that if you have 4 MOSFETs, or say 6 MOSFETs, let's just say 6 MOSFETs, okay, you have 6 MOSFETs operating at one time. If one of those MOSFETs fails, right, a relay or something kicks in to allow the other 6 on the one of the other 6 on the other side to kick in to take its place quickly, like within milliseconds, okay, preventing you from cutting out. Is that what they're talking about, or do they just have 12 MOSFETs? You see what I'm saying? To aid in the power requirement that is required of the motor, because it is a lot more powerful than, you know, any other wheel that they've built. So I can understand where they're coming from. So that's 3 things they've come up with so far. Tilt back, which they've already had, non-negotiable. 12 MOSFETs, Hall sensorless technology, and I don't know what else they have. So to answer your question, that's the answer so far. I'm speaking on behalf of Kingsong here. So Kingsong, if you can answer that, please. That's his question. Oh yeah, guys, post your questions in the chat so that we can go over it later on. You know what I mean? And maybe I can create videos, and other people can create videos based on your questions. So let's see. It's actually starting to look like we took a regular. Let me put you on here. Russell Zanor. It's actually just starting to look like we took a regular monoshock, rotated back like 30 degrees, and folded it in half after removing the front half of the pit bike. Can you call in to explain that? Because I don't know what you just said. I don't know what you just said, man. Let me read that again. It's actually just starting to look like we took a regular monoshock. Monoshock, like a single shock? Okay. Mono shock, single shock. Rotated. Okay, I see what you're saying. Like flipped it back. Okay, like 30 degrees. Okay. And folded it in half after removing the front half of the pit bike. Okay, I can understand what you're saying. So basically it came from a bike. We flipped it 30 degrees to make it look like that. Okay. I can understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, why not? But some guys are gonna explain this, and they're gonna explain it so well, which to me explains why this is really revolutionary. I didn't look at Chooch's video. He's an off-roading guy. We know that. I mean, he captured. There's a lot of other off-roading guys out there, guys. Like I've seen guys like, ride ramps and go nuts with MSPs, no shocks whatsoever, and these guys are nuts. But Chooch is the only one that I know of that really captures all his stuff. You know what I mean? The way he does. So S1800. Okay, let's see. The UK. Okay. I'm trying to look for stuff I can add. Okay, let's see what this one says. Russell Zenner again. I ride trails in Oregon Coast Range, LOL. There are places I can't go to. Now I think I can. This is portable. Portable how? I mean, it's portable enough. I agree. Yeah. CR250, not so much. CR250, isn't that the name of the shock? So if we go online here real quick, these companies, they don't make their own shocks. Okay? They don't make their own shocks. What they do is they go to shock companies, CR250, and that's how they come up with these amazing shocks. Oh, that's a bike. Oh, wow. That's okay. Compared to that, yeah, this is what he's saying he has, I guess. Is that what you have? Is that what you have? That's what you have, right? This thing right here, Russell Zenner. That's wicked. Now, the thing about this is why I think, you know what? Let's just get into the video because I don't want to hold this any longer. Let's get into the video. These guys are going to explain the difference between linear and nonlinear. Let's get into this. And one day you will play. That is not the one I'm looking for. That is not. Thank you very much.
Shock? Yeah? Pretty sweet, right? But if not, well, you're probably considering getting one. The sensitivity that a coil shock provides is unbeatable compared to an air shock, but it might cause your bike to not only blow through its travel, but you might also experience a harsh bottom out. Luckily, we've got a little something to show you that may have just changed the game when it comes to running a coil shock on your mountain cycle. I'm Mike, and I'm going to talk about how the new MRP Progressive Springs ride, and Russ over at the shop is going to get into the tech side of how these Progressive Springs work. So stay tuned and get a little nerdy with us.
First of all, can you guys hear this? Can you guys hear the video? Can you guys hear the video? Put a 1 in the chat, guys, please. Can you guys hear this video? I still have someone's comment up there. Okay, good. Let me just remove Zauer's. Russell, I gotta take your comment out, but I don't know where it is. Russell, where are you? I gotta take your comment out, Russell. Goodness gracious. All right, we'll just play it and I'll look for it later. All right, let's get back to this video.
Progressive springs have been around for a long time on both cars and motorcycles, and I actually can't believe that it's taken this long for them to make their way onto mountain bikes. I've recently replaced the SLS spring from my Fox DHX2 coil shock with this MRP Progressive spring, and it's made my Kona Process 153 play much nicer with a coil shock. Hey Russ!
Hey Mike!
Can you tell us why?
Some bikes are designed to be more linear than others, and some bikes are designed to be more progressive than others. If you have a bike that's relatively linear, and go from an air shock to a coil shock, oftentimes it'll bottom out a little too easy. If your bike's too linear and bottoming out too much, oftentimes people will try to preload the spring, but unfortunately this only affects the first third of the travel and doesn't really cure the bottoming out. A progressive spring is actually built with two different winds on a coil. It starts out with a lighter wind and ends with a tighter wind, which actually makes it two different spring rates in one. So in effect, it will increase the pressure required to compress it through the stroke. So if we take a look at the two springs side by side, you can see one has a more evenly spaced coil wind, and the progressive spring starts with a wider spacing and ends with a tighter spacing at the end, giving it two different spring rates and making it progressive. So the words progressive and linear get thrown around a lot, but what does it really mean? Mike, can you throw a chart up on the screen?
Mike, that's the wrong chart.
The force required to compress a linear spring increases slightly through its travel, and the force required to compress a progressive spring increases more through its travel. Why are some people choosing coil shocks over air shocks? An air shock is lighter, has a tunable bottom out, but it does have more stiction and is less consistent due to the air spring heating up. A coil shock has more small bump sensitivity, giving it a better feel over loose and chattery terrain, and it doesn't heat up as much, giving it a more consistent feel over longer downhills. However, on some suspension designs, they'll feel a harsh bottom out and oftentimes want to go back to an air spring. But you don't have to do that. With the MRP progressive spring, you get all the benefits of your coil shock with added bottom out resistance. So on Mike's Kona, switching to a progressive spring made a relatively linear suspension design feel like it was more progressive. It's not that you don't want to bottom out, it's just you don't want the harsh bottom out and the clunk at the end. So if you have a bike that was designed around an air shock but want the feel of a coil shock, the MRP spring can give you the feel of that coil but with the added bottom out resistance of an air shock.
Welcome to another episode of
Wow. All right. See, we are literally entering the realm of bikes. Now, the reason I say that, wow. All right. See, hold on for a second. We are okay. So let's see here. There is a site. Okay. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. Okay, so I was reading this thing right here. Hold on. All right, cool. I'm not going to read the whole thing, guys. It's just, this is why I was mentioning what I was mentioning. So there's something here I wanted to mention, wanted to show you guys. Okay, hold on. So I'm going to start reading right here. I'll read real fast, okay? Can you guys hear me? Can you guys still hear me? Are we good? Are we still good? Are we still good? Or do I have to restart the system? Are we still good, guys? Are we still good? We're still good, right? You guys can hear me? Thumbs up or a 1, please, if you guys don't mind. All right, let me read real quick. All right. So it says here, mountain biking is a sport where technology and equipment are as important as the actual act of riding. Suspension travel, okay, something we can't really speak about when it comes to the EX and the V11. We can, but not in the realm of bikes. Suspension travel often receives the most scrutiny when riders are looking at bike specs. Depending on the types of trails you ride on or aspire to ride on, there is hypothetically an ideal amount of suspension travel for your purposes. when you are outside of this range is when you become either overbiked, too much travel, or underbiked, too little travel. Other specs such as geometry, wheels, tires contribute too, but they usually are tailored to match bike travel. So basically your wheels, everything about your unit, your device is on a suspension device is designed around that suspension, okay? It's travel, okay, of that suspension. So suspension travel will be the focus here, okay? Most modern mountain bikers will have somewhere between 100 millimeters, okay, to 170 millimeters of suspension travel. This covers everything from cross-country race machines to hard-hitting enduro bikes. I don't know these things. If you want to learn, okay, whatever. Now, what's the right amount of travel for you? Having a bike with suspension perfectly suited to your trails and conditions will help smooth out the roughest parts while still feeling agile and easy to pedal. That's for bikes. So it doesn't, a lot of it doesn't apply to us when the trail is mellower. In reality, though everyone's trails and needs are different and evolving, most riders are going to end up with a bike that will put them more on one side of the spectrum or the other. And he goes on to find out. Okay, so you can actually visit this site to find out which way you might want to go with your own bike, own EUC. Let's go into more. I'm not going to go into more details. Okay, check out this website if you're interested. It's called theprocloset.com. Theprocloset.com. Okay, theprocloset.com. Check them out. Okay. Put myself back on here. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say. This is true suspension. Okay, this is true suspension. We're looking at a spring system. Okay, now this guy here is also going to explain something clear. Okay, let me go to him real quick because I don't want to take up too much time.
It's here. It's
Let me
finally
move him along because
what we have, a twin or
convenient location. Enjoy.
right here. All right.
what type of spring do I have? Well, on bikes like this with a twin or single shock, sometimes you can see the shape of the spring itself. So let's take a look at what we have. The bottom of this spring is extremely narrow. The top of the spring is significantly wider. The end or the top of the spring itself, the coils want to touch each other, and then the gaps change in between and tighten up. So the spring is conical in shape and the winds also touch each other. So that makes this spring extremely progressive. What does progressive mean? Soft. It'll go through the stroke and it will move and it'll give you a lot of comfort. This type of motorcycle was never meant for comfort in terms of super soft. So what manufacturers try to do with a progressive spring is give you the best of all worlds, and that means that you're working in the middle 2/3 of travel at all times, which is why they also give you a ramp adjuster to select the tension on the spring. So very progressive type spring on this bike. So on the DFL we have another example of a progressive spring. 3 winds are very close to each other. The spring is probably very close in circumference end to end, but these 3 winds, when I push on the shock, are going to close up and touch each other, and then as we come through the winds, the gap in each one gets bigger until we get to the bottom. So very slightly conical, a lot more springs touching each other at the top. The spring wire is a lot thicker on this bike because it's supporting a lot more weight and power, so that makes sense. So let's move the shock to show you where the movement occurs.
All right, so I'm not going to get totally into it, but you guys get the point. So what you're seeing here, you're looking at the S18. Okay, let me share this screen right here. All right, so I'm not going to get total. The S18, as you can see, has no spring. It's air. It's an air chamber type suspension. And if you look at the KS20, it's a completely different type of technology, a better type of technology. If you look closer to the top of now this is a rendering. I don't know if that's how it really works, but in their specs, they say that the KS20 is a non-linear fashion type of suspension. And I agree, because this does look non-linear. If you look really close to the top, you can see that the windings are a little bit closer to each other, which means it is, as they said, non-linear, or as they say, progressive. Now that's good. That's really good. In fact, those of you with S18s, you're going to appreciate this a lot more. In fact, it's going to make your S18 probably look like a pilot program, if you will, because I always said that the S18 was a pilot, like it was a test. Because right now, to us, this seems very normal. It seems amazing. It seems like a no-brainer. But this was a huge challenge and a huge, how do you say, risk for Kingsong, because no one else had done this like them. This was revolutionary in the EUC world. Now it's funny. I don't think you guys remember. I don't think press 1 in the chat if you guys remember when the idea of suspension, because I'm guilty too, the idea of suspension, okay, when it was first coming out, when the thought was in our heads that Kingsong was coming out with a suspension wheel, that people were saying, it's a gimmick. Press 1 if you guys remember that. It was a gimmick. Press 1. Please press 1 if you got. It was a gimmick. We were saying that out of our mouths. And at the time, it did seem like a gimmick, although there was a need for it. There was an absolute need for suspension. But it wasn't so much of a thing back then when it did not exist. I don't know if this phrase came from Steve Jobs, but he did say it. He said, because remember, people were like, "Oh, you're making the iPhone, and there's no screen, and come on, there's no keyboard. There's a screen, there's no keyboard. No one's gonna buy this. Plus, it's $500. Blah blah blah." What did he say? He said, okay, I don't know if this is his phrase, but he said, they asked him, "What if they don't buy it?" And then he goes, "Well, if they don't buy it, if we do a good job, they'll buy it. And if they don't do a good job, the customers won't buy it." It sounds very simple, but that was Kingsong. So back then, just have that mindset that right now the iPhone, the non-keyboard screen seems very normal now because it's been mass produced and mass adopted. That's how it was for Kingsong when it first introduced the suspension, that form of suspension to EUC, completely changing the shape of an EUC to incorporate in the body. Okay, the whole makeup of the wheel was the suspension. That was revolutionary at the time. Okay, for EUCs. Do you guys agree? So, but they had to give up certain things. They had to give up the motor. They had to give up power in terms of the battery output. So I think it was like 1,100 watt hours or something like that. And people who were over 180 pounds or whatever, if they really wanted to push it, they would experience beeps or cutouts, because even though the motor might have been okay, it wasn't able to really dish out peak power because there's no power, there's no battery. So what they've done here is they've said, we don't care about, well, not that they don't care about the weight, but we're not going to go down the road of this S18. We're going to not compromise in terms of battery or power. I think the peak power, we're going to get into it, is like 7,000 or something like that watts or something. But anyway, what do you guys think? What do you guys think, man? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this new form of adoption of the EUC? Because no one else is doing it. The Hero, by comparison, is like the S18. Okay, so let's look up the Hero, for example. I had it saved somewhere. Where did I save the Hero? I had the Hero saved somewhere. Maybe it's here. Where's the Hero? It's so funny. I always lose stuff, but let's go to the Hero. Actually, if we go to Begode, we have to go to Begode's website because they're going to have all the pertinent information we're looking for. But if you look at Ewheels, it'll say suspension system similar to the S18. But if we go to Begode's website, begode.com. So yeah, guys, what do you think? What do you think, man? What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this? Because before I mentioned this, I'm sure a lot of you guys already knew this, but before I mentioned this, and before I showed you the videos of true mountain bikers who understand suspension, did you think it was just another S18? And now after seeing this video, do you appreciate it a little bit more? Do you see what you're getting for amazing money? Can you justify paying $3,300 now? Is my question. The answer should be yes. All right, so if we go to Begode's website, this is Begode. Okay, I don't like the look of the wheel, but it's totally practical. I love that wheel for its practicality, okay? But that's not what I'm here to critique. I'm here to critique the suspension travel. The suspension travel here is, where is the suspension travel? It's here somewhere. All right, hold on. Let's share this. Let's share this. Let's make this interactive. Share the screen. Oh, I am already sharing the screen? Okay, how about this? Share. Okay, stop screen. Share window. This one. Okay, so you guys should be seeing the Gotway website now. So what we're going to check, we're going to check, and guys, these wheels, they have a lot to offer, man. We're just scratching the surface here, but a lot of it we already know because of formal wheels. But I'm just focusing on the most important stuff. So by comparison, so you understand what's going on here, by comparison, okay, the Hero has a suspension travel, as stated earlier, you guys already mentioned it. The Hero has a suspension travel of 80 millimeters. 80. So let me explain to you what that means. 80 millimeters is 20 millimeters below what is recommended for off-roading mountain bikers, dude. That means that this thing is closer to being linear than non-linear, even though it's like S18. So it's a non-linear form of suspension. But if you're really considering true off-roading capabilities and whatever, the KS20 is the way to go. And what's crazy is the KS20 is cheaper. It's cheaper, it's faster, it looks better, and it has a true suspension. Do you guys agree? Let me pause. Do you guys agree? Let me go back because this screen is not so flashy. It's not so flashy. Let's go to a flashy. Let's go to a flashy screen here. This is not beautiful. Let's go to a flashy screen. This is beautiful. Wow, look how beautiful this screen is. Oh, I'm not even sharing the screen, so you're not gonna be able to see it. Hold on for a second. Stop. Share again. Yeah, let's share this beauty right here. All right, so come on, guys. Do you agree that how many of you are planning on getting the Hero? By a show of ones or thumbs up, by a show of ones or thumbs up, how many of you, by a show of one or thumbs up, how many of you in the chat are planning on getting a Hero? By a show of hands, by a show of thumbs up or ones, how many of you are planning on getting a Hero? Okay, wow. Shocking. All right. Pre-ordered. Okay. Interesting one. That's another one. NYC EUC. All right. So only two so far? Okay. Three. Okay, 3 people getting the Hero so far. Wow. Let me see what this one says. Russell Zoner. I also bought a crossbow Crossbow. Sorry, because crossbow hunting. Oh, you're talking about hunting. So you plan on hunting elk with the S20, my man. Do some videos, man. So far, I only see 3 people. 3, 1, 2, 3 getting the Hero. I'm gonna wait for like 5 seconds, and I'm gonna transition to the S20. Okay. Drop ones or thumbs up in the chat if you're getting or have already placed an order for an S20. Drop ones or thumbs up in the chat if you have already placed a deposit or plan on getting the S20. 1 or thumbs up for S20 if you're already getting it. See, 4. You already blew out the wow. Sensei Vegan, do you want to come in here and talk? I need someone to converse with because I don't want to be an echo chamber here. You see the let me send in the link here. Anybody can come in and chat here. Come on, man. Wow, the S20, man. Like and mostly I wouldn't be surprised if it's because of how it looks. I mean, look at it. Just look at this thing. Holy smokes, man. What the freak? Like the S18 was already amazing as it is. They literally took it a step. You know, like BMW? So BMW, right? What they do is they come up with amazing cars every year. Every year. Whatever. They come up with amazing cars every year. And every time they come out with an amazing car, you're like, that's the best one. How can they come up with something better? And then later on, they come up with something better. Kingsong, this is their second electric unicycle with suspension, with true suspension. And they freaking, I don't even play baseball, but they've taken the ball and they've put it on a bird and the bird flew away. What the freak, man? They've done such an amazing job. The second wheel. And no other company comes even close, dude. Yes, the Hero comes a little close by look and by functionality. But if you look at what you're getting for the money, 80 millimeters of travel compared to 130 millimeters of travel. That's crazy. Do you know what you can do with 130 millimeters of travel? You can bounce around, man, like a rabbit. Okay, so let me look at some of your comments. Look at some of your comments here. And then we'll look at I will ask you guys to put questions in, and then I'll post your comments, your questions. Okay, let me see how far back I need to go. Okay, right here is right here should be good. Yeah. See, rotate the yellow thing too. Okay, right here. Okay, let's look at this comment. Sensei Vegan, if you're still here, chime in, man. Click on the link, please. Or someone, one of you who already, if you already have an S18, please click on the link and share some of your experience with us, please. Because I've never had a suspension wheel. Never. I've never had one. I never thought it was needed. But after seeing all this, holy smokes, and I'm mostly a street rider. So when I first saw the suspension wheel, I went to New York, and Sean with the HSAIGN guy, he had a demo day. And when I first saw it, I was like taken back. I'm like, holy smokes, this is amazing. Like, this makes sense, you know? Okay, Senator Perry. Not sure you want to see this, but the LG 50LT 21700 battery cells are only listed at 300 cycles at 80%, at above 80%. Am I reading this right? In other words, at 300 plus cycles, it will have less than 80%. Wow. Now, Senator Perry, I am of the belief that EUC companies should have stayed with the 18650 cells. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with my assessment? The 18650 cells in the words of many riders, have been battle tested. Okay. I had the 84 volt MSX, which was 18650 cells with pretty much 1800 watt hours. And then when I got the MSP, that was 21700, right? So I ended up doing the same. I ended up going on trips that with the MSP that were similar to my MSX. And what I found was that I had better mileage on my MSX than I had on my MSP. One of these wheels was 4P or 6P. I don't remember. I think the MSX was 6P, and I think the 84 volt was 4P configuration, because the 8480, you know, anyway, one of these wheels has higher current output. I believe that is the MSP with its 6P configuration. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I don't remember. I always mix those up because I don't understand the concept yet. But I had a feeling that it wasn't really the configuration. It was more the 18650 cells that was producing such great output. Okay, great range. But I'll tell you what, I was able to push the MSP a lot harder, obviously, than the 84 volt. So 126 volts sounds amazing. I'll have to have another live about battery because that's just a whole different world. All right, next. Jun Chen. There was a Japanese YouTuber swap his S18 shock to the same type as the S20 shock, but smaller one. Okay. I would do it too. Russell Zoner again. I plan on hacking. Oh, man. You're funny. Swap battery packs anyhow so I can go long trips without stopping. Why not, man? That's the whole point of these. Batteries are always sus anyhow. True. You don't know if your BMC gonna die until you stress it. True. You need long-term testing. You need long-term testing. Let me see what other things I got here. Oh yeah, if they start cross-referencing suspension parts like people did to wagons, BMW, the gloves are off. We're gonna see some wild rides capable of sick deeds. Let me see this person right here. The hard part was probably software, honestly. It's gonna be too heavy. Do you guys think it's gonna be a problem? Like the weight? Do you believe that the weight is going to be an issue here? Because let's be honest, the KS20 is the lightest wheel of all of them. All the other wheels are above 77 pounds. I believe now Ewheels and UCO have a completely different spec. This I believe is 66 pounds, and on Ewheels it's 77, something like that. So that's yet to be seen. So if they can give us all of this with 77 pounds, that's crazy. So we're gonna watch one more video, one last video, and we're going to ask. I'm gonna list my questions, and you guys are going to list your questions. You can call in or you can stream in and ask your questions, and we can talk about it. Okay. So last video, and this is from Electric Dreams. A lot of you have already seen this video, but this is from Electric Dreams. Now, with everything I've just shown you regarding suspension and all that stuff, you know, you might see this review differently. But we're going to scrutinize Electric Dreams review or initial impression, okay? So open your eyes. Open your eyes.
I'm Jack from Kingsong. I'm really excited to show you guys the Kingsong S20 Eagle. Now, this is a prototype that we have internally. As you can see, some of the red is not really all matching up, and some of it is a bit rough around the edges. And that's what we're currently doing with the S20 right now, is working out, you know, getting the molded parts ready. But we've had this honestly for quite a while now. And the reason we haven't been sharing it is because we've basically just had the suspension frame, and we've been testing out the mechanism and making sure everything functions, the travel functions, everything in terms of that front functions correctly. So I do want to show you guys a little bit in the flesh the S20 Eagle here. We have the power pads. The finish on them is not quite the one that we want, but we'll get there. Adjustable up and down. Spiked pedals, these are default, so you won't need to purchase a third party, but obviously I think there will be third party options out there. We also have these lights. I'm gonna show you the footage of the lights right now. It's really bright. As some of you guys know, I had a veteran Sherman for my own personal use, and I would say this is brighter than that, or at least on par with that. Yeah, and you can change the angle obviously. So there's basically a screw on the top right here, and if you loosen that up, you'll be able to adjust the angle.
So if you're thinking about pre-ordering the Kingsong S20 because it looks like it's going to be a great wheel, then you're probably more than right, and you should do it through erides.co.uk if you live through Europe, or e-rides.com. So if you guys know Hafeez, he's been in the community for a long time. He's quite reputable. So go ahead and check out the link in the description.
We have the seat here. I want to bring you guys in closer so you guys can see the display, or I'll put in some footage right now. But yeah, that's basically, there's an opening on the top here, and then put your bum right here if you're one of those seated riders. But yeah, and then we have the kickstand, which is, I guess, the first Kingsong electric unicycle that has a kickstand. One of the questions I got asked, I guess, is how did the pedals fold up? Now, we do have a clip that will hold these in place. I'm not 100% sure if they'll still function when you have this in the lowest position. I think it will, but yeah, given the size of these pedals and the placement of these aggressive power pads, it won't sit, I guess, completely flush. So that's one thing to be aware of. Yeah. In terms of development, I know we're working on basically widening this rim to accommodate for more tires. So that's what we're doing right now. Let me take this off the stand right now and then show you guys what this looks like with using the kickstand. So we'll bring this around. Okay, so the power button is underneath. It's on. And then, so yeah. I will have more footage in the coming weeks and over the next few days as well, hopefully. Footage, video, and just showing you guys this thing actually does work and run. We've been testing it, like I said. But let me show you guys what it looks like in its kickstand position. There you go. Integrated kickstand, something so simple, but so handy for when you get to your destination and you want to lay this down without having to worry about it falling over when you lean it against the wall, right? So that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. Again, like I said, I will have more footage coming, so stay tuned on this channel. Please subscribe, and if there's anything you want to see about this wheel or you want me to cover, please let me know. Please leave a comment down below. But yeah, thanks for joining me in this quick video to see the S20 in all its glory.
So with the approval of Hafeez from eRides, I was actually allowed to do a torque test on the Commander and a water test. Now, unintentionally yesterday when we went seriously off-roading, those trails where they take their Jeep Wranglers, like serious boulders, I was actually able to do a torque test, a real quick torque test. And I was also able to do a water test as we were hit with a major rainstorm. So it's important to remember not all retailers will actually support me in doing a rain test or a water test. But Hafeez really cares about his customers, and he wants his riders to know exactly what they're buying. Is it gonna be good for the rain? What happens if it snows, right? So that's why he wants me to do these tests. It's all really for his customers. So good on him for doing that. Now, I was riding both the S20 and the Commander, so you'll see the footage of those two wheels being tested very soon. I will still take the Commander and the S20 to that hill that I usually go to where I burn out my wheels. So stay subscribed, like the video, stay tuned on my channel, and thanks for everyone's support on this channel.
All right, wow. So I'm not gonna make this long, guys. In the chat, and then I'm gonna let Sensei Vegan on because I need someone else's opinion to be expressed. After seeing after
I'm
seeing
gonna-
this video, after seeing the video from Electric Dreams, now we've seen him ride it when they were first introducing it, right, with the CEO and all that. There were no real close-ups though. How do you feel after seeing that? Like it's up close, like you're actually seeing it now. It's as if you were there. Did you do you is it what you expected? Press a 1 or enter a 1 or a thumbs up if it's exactly or more than what you expected. Did you change your mind after seeing this video, or did it drive it home like, dude, I made the right decision? Press a 1 if you felt you made the right decision after seeing the video from Electric Dreams. Is it what you expected? This thing looks good. It looks really good. It looks really, really well built. You know, unlike the S18, this thing looks solid, like solid. There's no gimmicks, except I have some questions. I did see something that may be a gimmick, but in terms of the body, in terms of how it's built, compared to the S18, this does not look like it was gimmicky at all. The panels on the S18 were very gimmicky-like, but this looks solid. Okay, Sensei Vegan, I'm gonna add you in, and I'm gonna have you talk. Okay, do you hear me? No, seriously. I've spoken. Now you talk. Introduce yourself too, because I don't know who's watching. Hold on, let me let you in.
All right. What's up,
All
everybody?
right.
Sensei Vegan here. Yeah, dude. So over the weekend, I actually got to ride the S18. We went on a group ride, and one of the riders had an S18. I thought it was solid. Now, for the type of riding that I do, I'm not a serious off-roader, but I do hit some trails. So the S18 was more than perfect for me. I know some riders like Chooch or Mike Leahy, you know, I mean, Mike Leahy's making them mega jumps, and then Chooch hits the trails hard. Chooch loved the S18, but I think the issue that some people had with the S18 was that the suspension might seize up on you, so you might have to maintain it and, you know, lube it up and grease it up a little bit. But for most people, the suspension on the S18 was more than good enough. Now, the S20, if it's better than the S18, wow. I was riding that S18 over the weekend, and I was like, this thing is so smooth, because I had jumped off my RS, and then I jumped on the S18. I was like, wait a second. This thing is ridiculously smooth. It just knocks all the edge off when you're riding. You know, like if you hit a pothole or a crack and you're not expecting it, and you don't have a suspension wheel, you know, you have a good chance of smacking the dirt. But with that, man, it just knocks the edge off. It is so, when I say buttery smooth, I mean buttery smooth. So after stepping off the S18 this weekend, I was like, if the S20 is better than this, we're in for a treat. We're in for a treat. Because I rode the S18 and I got to ride the Sherman over the weekend. I got to test ride both of those and actually do some miles on it, not just a few laps. And I'm looking forward. I really am. I can't wait to get my hands on this thing. Unless emotion can take and throw a curveball and do something different.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
So,
unless emotion can take and throw a curveball.
I have a question for you. I'm hearing myself. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
You have a deposit, right? You have a deposit on that wheel?
I didn't put a deposit yet. I'm just waiting to see what InMotion has to offer. That's going to be my final decision on what I would get.
Why do you think InMotion is going to do anything different than what they've already done?
I looked at what they did with the V12. I think the V12 right now is a slow burn. And what I mean by slow burn is I think that wheel is just gaining in popularity. I think they made a lot of great advancements on that wheel. And if the next suspension wheel put up by InMotion goes the same route that the V12 did, I think they're in for, they're going to put out an amazing wheel. Now, even though the suspension system on the V11, it was more of a, I guess you would say like a linear system, almost like a, remember the suspension on the mountain bikes, the fork suspension? that pretty much seemed like how the V11 system was on, what's on the V11. Now, I like the V11. I got to ride it. It felt like a Cadillac. Now, are you going to hit mega drops on it? No. But you could off-road with it depending on, if you change the tire. The tire was a little slick on it. But it knocked enough of the edge off where you could really enjoy the ride. It was good on your knees, good on your back. I love the V11. So if they even make minor upgrades to that, I still think they have a great chance of making a dent in this suspension battle going on. To that.
Okay, so before seeing the video explaining how linear versus non-linear works, because InMotion has only shown, they've only shown I don't think they've shown serious interest in true suspension technology. It's like how Gotway handled it. People want suspension, let's give them something. Whereas Kingsong went a completely different. Let's give them everything. Let's throw everything.
Right.
Personally, I don't know what InMotion is up to. I have no idea. All I know is Kingsong took the entire cake.
They did. They took the entire cake, ran around the corner, and ate it, man. They're not playing. But I think it's a good thing because it's going to cause these other companies to step their game up. Like you were saying, the travel range on the Hero is 80 millimeters. And then I know that the S20 is 130. I think it was 130. Yeah. That's a significant difference. I mean, you're going to be able to do some major jumps on that thing, some major drop-ins with the S20. So depending on the degree of your experience and what type of off-roading you're going to do, I think that might determine the type of wheel that people are going to get. Like if you're doing city riding, street riding, the Hero would be perfect. It's enough to knock the edge off the bumps. But if you're going hardcore, Mike Leahy, Chooch, and some of these other guys, then the S20 might be the one that you want to. Well, it definitely should be the one that you want to rock with.
Yeah, I used to wonder what is that clunk sound I heard if you watch Chooch's video really closely. Whenever he
was bottoming out.
Jumps and he lands, you hear clunk,
clunk. Oh, he was bottoming out. He was definitely bottoming out that thing. And he's a light rider too. You know what I mean? He's not. He doesn't weigh as much as you. He doesn't weigh as much as me. Like I know you're at least 200 pounds. I'm close to 200. I'm like about 190 with all my equipment and everything on. So that you would definitely need for heavier riders a more progressive suspension. So when you do hit hard, you're not going to bottom out the suspension. I mean, I know a little bit about it. I was into bikes and things like that. I remember this is going back a little bit, like on the old Huffy bikes. I think it was a Huffy bike. They had the coil spring right like underneath the seat, that type of thing. But this is very sophisticated when you're adding the air and the coil together. So you should have no bottom out issues at all, especially for the heavier riders.
Yeah. Well, full disclosure, I don't have any deposits.
No, I think it's no rush, man. I don't think it's a rush. I'm going to sit back and wait. Like I'm having a great time on my RS right now. And then once the time comes, like I said, I want to be like second or third batch. I don't want the first batch of any wheel. I've learned that each first batch always comes with its issues, and then everything will smooth out. I mean, look at the Sherman. As great as that wheel is, now the Sherman is in the glory stage, I would say. They worked out all the kinks, and I still think that's a tough wheel to beat. But it takes a couple batches for them to get everything right. It's not going to be, the S20 is not going to be a perfect wheel when the first comes out. They're going to have to fix a few things, but
what I want to, I mean, I kind of see. I would say that about other wheels, but I wouldn't say that about the KS20. I just wouldn't, because let's look at a few things here. It's not their first.
Right.
And not only is it not their first, it's not their technology. The suspension didn't come from them. They're using off-the-shelf technology. You know what I mean? To incorporate in something that they've already tested out in the real
Well,
world.
I kind of treat it like cars. I mean, they've been making cars. I mean, yeah, before I was born, certain makers, you know, Toyota and you know, Ford and all these cars, they still come out with issues though, even though it's been done a million times over.
But what kind of issues are you expecting? I'm personally, I'm not putting it past. Look, these are mechanical devices, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Electromechanical devices. So obviously you're going to expect certain issues. But I don't see the issue occurring with the suspension per se. Man, if the suspension has issues that we need to send it back and hey, fix this, then that's like bombs, you know. Sad for everybody who bought it the first time. But I don't see issues coming with the suspension per se. Here's some questions I posted. Mm-hmm. And guys, get your questions ready if you have any questions. This is what I posted. The first question I had was, will the pedals fold up?
I remember you asking that. I don't see why it wouldn't. Depending on if they have the magnets. But some of them don't even use magnets. Some of them just go up just with tension too. So it depends on how that. I'm sorry for moving the camera. I don't have a tripod.
Okay.
It depends on how they market it. You know, if they're going to go with magnets or they're just going to go with a tension. As you flip it up, it just stays up. So I'm not sure how that's going to work. But it would be better if the pedals do flip up. I know on my RS right now, I put some padding down at the bottom so the pedals kind of come down a little bit, and it gets annoying a little bit.
Yeah, because Black Cobra, I mentioned it in my fail live that I was trying to set up the other day.
I was there. I stuck around, man. Yeah,
I saw
it's all good.
But I saw a video of, I'm not sure I think it was Electric Dreams, because he's the only one right now out there that's posting his videos. But he showed the adjustable side pads coming down, and he wasn't able to put up the pedal.
Yeah, I guess if you drop the pedals down, I mean, if you drop those side pads down too far, the pedals might get in the way. So, I mean, that makes sense. But we'll just have to see if they'll find a way around that.
But that's what I'm saying. This is where I see issues. It's like an afterthought. Like, did they not think about this?
I don't know.
Because I tried to do the Law thing, and Law has, like, you know, he makes custom pads or whatever.
Right.
I decided to look at his video, watch his video, and create my own. And I wasn't really into pads until I went off-roading and until I rode with him and others. And I'm like, holy smokes, I need pads. So
yeah, I learned that at the rally.
Oh, you were there. Yeah, you were there.
I was there, dude.
Oh my God.
I said the same thing. I need some pads, man.
I was like, oh shoot, I need some pads because dude, you never know where you're gonna ride. But anyway, I have issues putting up my pedals. And even so, with my custom design, I'm thinking of putting magnets somewhere inside the whatever that is in order to pull it up. But for a company, dude, like Kingsong, come on, I'm thinking that they would have already figured this out. Now, if I like, remember, adjusting your pads is a thing, man. Like, you adjust your pads a certain way, you don't want to have to give up. I don't mind riding around with my pedals sticking out only because I like the way I set up my pads.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? But that's just me. I have no money. I don't have a research team. I don't have anything like that. This is a company. So
no, I feel you on that.
To tell me, look, you have to put your pads back up in order to fold your pedals, that seems like an afterthought to me. Also, if you look closely, let me see if I can get it. There's something I wanted to show. Hold on for a second. Kingsong. So there's this site, guys. I don't know if you know about it, but it's called Kingsong S20.com. Do you guys know about this site?
No.
Yeah, check it out. It's called Kingsong S20. It's a great site. I'm not sure if it's from Kingsong or what, but that site looks friggin' amazing. It has everything you need to know about the Kingsong S20, so definitely go check it out. Anyway, this is the site. It has all this data. But what I want to focus on is this right here, is the pads themselves, okay? I want to focus on the pads. So if you look
how they move up and down.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you look at the pads, you see that? But no, not move up and down. I find that genius, but that's not what I'm concerned about here. I'm not concerned about the moving up and down part. Here's what I'm concerned about. Hold on. Here is what I'm concerned about. Come on, these images keep moving. I want a still image, something that doesn't move. Okay, there we go. So if I zoom into this, now we know that when you purchase a pad from Clark Pads or wherever you want to purchase it from, customization is very important.
100%.
Okay, so it's the cool thing about Clark Pads, from what I understand, it's not a one size fit all. You call him, you contact him, and he even has the adjustable ones or whatever,
Right.
If you
I have them on my Tesla, and they come in different sizes. Yeah, they're good. They're good pads.
So if you look at the bottom pad right here, this part, that's not adjustable. Like when I say adjustable, I mean it's not adjustable in the X. Is that the X? XY?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like if you have like a wider calf or leg, you might, you know what I mean? You might have
stuck. You're like, what the freak? Like, so
that could be an issue. And these are the small things that I was thinking about. You know what I mean? I'm really not worried about the suspension. I think the suspension is going to work fine, but it's everything else that goes into it. It's almost like if you're I know this is right off the top of my head, like if you're putting up a Christmas tree. Now, I haven't done that in years, but you have every little, like you have the tinsel, you have the lights, you have the guard, you know what I mean? Every little thing to come together to bring it together, you know what I mean? Or even building a car from scratch, every little piece has to come together in order for that car to run smooth. And this is the stuff that I was talking about, waiting for the second or third batch. Like I'm really not worried about the suspension. But like you said, the pads, I'm curious about the Halleluyah sensor, how that's going to integrate. So how are all these things going to mesh together to make this thing run smooth? And that's one thing that I'm
what's interesting about. Is the video, and this is probably why somebody said this, okay, they're probably stringing us along. Whereas the Hero, okay, yes, it's only 80 millimeters of travel, but we can't expect much from Gotway because they're not really into that. They're just giving you what you need. And I think they did a fantastic job. They did a fantastic job copying the S18 and adding more to it, like the screen, the lights, the integrated kickstand. I mean, everything looks beautiful, right?
Right.
You saw it in real life. You saw how it operated in real life with Kuji rolls. That's awesome. I'm very, very happy. Whereas this one, when we saw them ride it, put a 1 in the chat, put a 1 in the chat, put a 1 or a thumbs up in the chat if you feel the video from Electric Dreams, the wheel appeared to be a prototype. You know what I mean? Like it appeared to be a prototype.
Oh yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying too. Like I think you had mentioned it too. Like some of the colors like didn't match and everything. I'm more of the visual type, meaning that I think they had the wheel together. I don't think they're going to put out something and basically mar what they did with the S18. I think the S18 really helped change EUCs. Now you've been in it longer than I have. So you've seen more of a progression than me, but I don't think they would come in and put something out that's going to be the same. I think they're definitely going to put something out that's going to elevate what they have. I believe that 100%.
Well, someone was saying they were stringing us along, and I feel the reason they were the person, whoever said that, felt they were stringing us along. I think it was Real Talk, is because they probably don't have everything ready. You know what I mean?
Oh, I can understand that too. But in anything that you make, it takes time, it takes effort. I can imagine the people that developed this thing had a lot of sleepless nights, man. It goes into doing things like this. But I don't see why they would want to string us along. I believe that they probably had this thing for a while. I do. Especially something of this magnitude. I don't think it's something that you can take and just slap it together.
Okay, hold on. Okay, he said it was a prototype. Okay, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But just keep in mind, guys, you gave money for a prototype. Just so you know. But you know, that's good. That's good because you're showing interest. So it's a double-edged sword. You're paying to be a first, because Sensei Vegan, you can agree with me. We are the test dummies.
Oh, we are. We are the crash test dummies for these things. Now, I mean, the thing about the prototype, that prototype can be months old. It doesn't necessarily mean that they made it like a week ago. They could have been riding on this prototype for a while and then fine tuning it. So that's another way to look at it as well. Yeah, and I think it's important to mention that, you know, probably that affected the price too. I don't know. But because you're getting a lot. You're getting a whole lot here, man. You're getting a whole lot of wheel for very little money, relatively speaking, compared to the other wheels. Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so my next question that I had, did you have questions for them? Did you have questions that you wanted to share? No, I'm good, man. I'm just here for the ride, man. So shoot the question. So yeah, so this right here is a problem. If that's how it's going to be shipped. Now, my question is it removable? Are these pads removable? Because if they're removable, then you could put in your Clark pads. You could put on whatever pads you want. You could put in your custom pads. You know what I mean? So I think making it removable, yes, adjustable is amazing. It's dynamic. It's revolutionary, blah, blah, blah. But the ability, if you can remove it without much work, I think that's even more revolutionary. Because now you don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? That would definitely help out. We just have to see how it's connected on there. That's the issue. Once you remove it, because if it's moving around, if you're able to adjust it, that means there has to be a mechanism underneath it to help it move up and down. Now, is that going to be in a way? It's removable. Oh, okay. Hey, Simon, how can you verify that? I don't want to just say it is. How can you verify? Did I miss something in the? You know, they are removable. Jack said that. So it looks like I missed two things Jack said. When did he say that? I don't remember him saying that. Where did he say it? Was it in the video? Swagger and E. Simon. It was in the video, right? How can we verify that these pads are removable? But are they removable and you can replace them with other pads, or are they removable? Oh, he said when he was on with Black Cobra. Okay. Okay. But are they removable with or replaceable with other brands of pads, or you have to use the Kingsong pad? You understand what I mean? That's something that has to be answered as well. Right. Because didn't they wait? Is there a part in there where they say it's what was that word we used for the veteran Sherman? Modular. I did hear the word modular. Yeah, so that's a very good question, Sensei. Is it modular in the sense that I could just remove the pads in case it breaks and replace it with an equivalent Kingsong pad, or can I remove it and put whatever pad I want? Yeah, that's the question that needs to be answered. I'm not sure. I'm definitely sure that you can remove it and replace it with a Kingsong pad, because these things are going to get damaged eventually. Yeah, Simon says it's replaceable with a normal pads, Jack said. So he keeps saying Jack said. So well, that's good. Good question. Wow, cool. Thanks, Mr. Swagger. You're on the game. Simon, sorry. You are on the game. Okay, okay. You can add now. What I want to see, because what I'm realizing now is Jack is saying one thing and we're seeing what he's presenting. So my question is he trying to preempt what they haven't done to keep us happy, or is this something that's a reality? Do you get my question? Am I confusing? No, you're not confusing at all. Are they showing all their cards? You know, basically, I think that's what you're saying. Are they showing everything? I don't know. I think they're holding some things back. I don't think they're going to tell us everything. Mm-hmm. You know, but when we see his, because he has a ride review coming out very soon with the wheel. Can't wait. Yeah, that's what I'm hyped up to see, and that will answer a lot of the questions that we have right now. Once you see it out in the field, how he moves. And his reviews are normally really good too. And he doesn't baby the wheel, man. No, he doesn't. He killed two wheels. He killed a Sherman. Dude, he killed it. I love his reviews, and I love Alien Ride's reviews, because those dudes, they run the wheels, man. You know, they run them. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one question I had. Guys, put your questions in the chat if you have any, so I can post them out. I have another question. Can this thing handle a crash, considering it's meant for off-roading? It's a simple question. A lot of people had the same question. But if you look at this wheel, if you look at it for what it is, when I look at it, I don't see continuity. So what I mean by continuity is I don't see one solid. Oh, by the way, yes, good point. Swagger said, that's why they built the frame with a flat surface so that you can take out the pads and add whatever you want. So I just wanted to mention that. So that makes sense. Yeah, similar to the Hero, by the way. But yeah, if you look at this wheel, you're seeing parts. You just, what is this? What is this right here? What is this? Well, let's just say I'm a normal person just looking at this. It looks great, but look at the lights. The lights in the front, for example. The lights in the front are, they're modular as well. They're modular and they're held by screws. Now, the cool thing about the lights is you have this bumper right here. This bumper, actually, the way I interpret it, is to protect the lights, actually, from getting any impact. Doesn't mean that it won't get impacted, but it does look like it's definitely there to protect the light. If you look at the shocks, goodness gracious, the selling point of this wheel is the look, obviously, but the selling point is the suspension. But look at this chamber. It's exposed.
It looks like if it goes down, parts are going to come off. It does. It looks delicate. It does. I'm not even going to lie about that. If you compare it to the Hero looks more solid. It looks like if the Hero goes down, it's just going to slide. You can pick it up and jump right back on it and ride it. This looks like if it does a cartwheel or two, the pads are coming off. You might bend the suspension arm back there or the air chamber. So I'm curious with that as well to see how they pull that off. Hopefully it's more durable than what it looks. It looks fantastic. Like I said, it looks like a sport bike, but we all know what happens when sport bikes hit those plastic fairings and stuff.
They go everywhere.
They crack up. Yeah, they crack up. As a matter of fact,
my neighbor, he has a sports bike, like an amazing Ducati. And it looks great. It looks fantastic. But you know what he has around it? He has a rail, a protective.
He has that cage. Yeah.
He has the cage
I know
around
exactly
it.
what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at this, we compare it. We're all comparing it to a sports bike, but dude, I think if I had the skills to create rails like I did for the MSP, that would be my first thing, is to create a rail for this thing. Because it just looks like if it crashes, dude, in any way. I mean, just look at it. Just look at the chamber. Just look at the chamber. Right. It's completely.
Even the kickstand in the back, I think it's functional. But if you come jumping off something like a curb, it might smack the back of that kickstand. That might hit off of something.
And that thing doesn't look like it can take a huge impact.
Right. I think a lot of people will probably be taking that kickstand off. I mean, I'm just being honest. It looks like you can knock it around. So I don't know.
Yeah. So these are concerns. So I'm looking at it and I'm saying this looks fantastic. We all agree it looks fantastic, but the point of this show so far is to bring it down to reality. Well,
one thing that I would say the reality is this is not for a beginner rider. This is for an advanced rider. It is.
And why do you say that? Why do you say that?
Well, we've all started, and we know you're going to dump the wheel. And a lot of times when you first start, you have some violent dumps. It's not like the wheel just falls over, dude. The wheel cartwheels, you know what I mean? Head over heels, and it falls in some weird position.
Yeah.
And that's going to be an issue for a beginning rider. I guarantee if you're starting out on this thing, parts are going to be coming off. Not because it's made bad. It's just you're going to wreck it. That's why I say anyone that's starting out riding, you might want to go with an S18 over the S20 because it's.
It's so funny. The live I wanted to do yesterday was all about that.
Yeah.
But I'm smoothing it out. So I'm prepping it, doing it nice, so that I can present it again Sunday coming. But it's all about that. It's all about how. And you said it in one of your video, in one of when you came on live the last time. You said it. You said don't let anyone pressure you. And guys, this is for you. I know you're tantalizing and you have money up the wazoo, and you've dove into the deepest ocean and to get the pearls to purchase this amazing wheel. But guys, the best advice Sensei Vegan has given so far is that you should not feel pressured to buy the most advanced wheel. Like, do whatever you want. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you what you can do or can't do, but I'm just saying, man, like, if you really want to wear the badge of a veteran rider, not the Sherman veteran, just someone who's been riding for a while and truly like understand your wheel and be able to adapt to your environment based on what you're riding, dude, like anything else, it takes time. And it doesn't have to be 4 years. It doesn't have to be 2 years. It doesn't even have to be a year. But what it has to be is you need to appreciate the progression of wheels. So, Sensei Vegans, go on, Sensei Vegan, tell them.
Yeah, appreciate the process. I always tell people, don't have the herd mentality. Some great wheels to start out with. The V10F is excellent. The Tesla T3. What's that? The 14? Is there a 14D? I think by Kingsong, the 16D, 16X, something like that. Even the M10-3. You want something that you can handle. Weight is a huge factor. I believe this wheel is going to weigh like 77 pounds, and I don't care what anybody says. You feel the weight. Don't let anybody tell you different. Oh, you don't. Yes, you do. You do feel the weight. I noticed going from my Tesla to my RS, I was like, wow, it's a big difference. So imagine you've never ridden a wheel and you're going to jump on something that weighs 77 pounds that can do 44 miles an hour. You might run into some problems. And that's just like guys that'll tell you, advanced motorcycle riders, I'll tell you to start out like on a 250 or even like a 125 dirt bike or something before trying to get a 750 or a 1200cc bike. Because some of these guys, they get these bikes, they get them up, they run them up high and end up crashing on them. It's just too much bike for them. So get something that's in your skill level, something that's going to be comfortable for you to ride and that you're going to have fun riding. Because if you get something that's way out of your league, it's not going to be a fun experience. It's not.
It's just not going to be a fun experience. And the worst part is you won't be able to enjoy what it is to have an EUC.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. And then you have more of a chance of hurting yourself too. And if you're hurt, like you said, you can't ride. So
you can't ride, dude. And you're but yeah, this is just our advice. Do whatever you want. You know what I would say? You really want the wheel? Fine. Get the wheel. Park it.
Get the wheel. Yeah.
Get the wheel and park it. Just put it somewhere and get a loaner wheel from someone else. That way you can come home, look at the wheel, test it in the house, but don't ride it outside. Just get your Tesla, get your little M10, get your InMotion V11. These are expensive wheels, but get something that's manageable. And then that way you could appreciate this, dude. Because what you're gonna do, you're gonna get this wheel, you're gonna smash it. Not everybody. I'm gonna stress this. Not everybody, because there are people out there who are freaking marvels. These people get the wheel and they ride.
Right. Yeah, you do have some prodigies out there.
Yeah, they're really good.
Another great thing you can do is, again, learn on a lesser wheel. Go to a demo day, and once you learn how to ride, you can go test the wheel out and see if it's something for you. And I believe he's on stream now, Tommy from EUC Vibes. I thank him to this day because I actually got to try out the RS.
Hey, EUC Vibes, call in, man. EUC Vibes. Well, you don't have to show your camera. You do not.
And that was one of the
camera, EUC Vibes.
And that was one of the reasons why I got the RS. I got to ride the wheel at the rally, and I was like, man, this thing feels fantastic. I want to get one of these things. So if I never got to test ride the RS, I would have probably never got it. So that's another good thing too. Learn how to ride. I don't care if it's on a 9-bot, an air wheel, something. Get your skill up. If you find someone that's having a demo day, try the wheel out. Or if you go to a group ride and someone has an S18, ride the S18. If you like the S18, more than likely you're going to love the S20. But just go in progression and follow the steps, and your wheel life will be much more enjoyable than just running out there throwing down over $3,000 on a wheel. And you're like at the circus just doing cartwheels on it. It's not going to be fun.
Right. So let me see. Another question I have here is, let me see what EUC Vibe is saying. UStride, it's amazing how fast the landscape changed because when you dropped that these wheels were dull. Video right before you made the URL. That's right. So a while back, I made a video that said EUCs, the way they're made at that time, were
I remember
dull.
that.
And they were dull. And it was just dull. Wait, the first time it came out was cool. MSX, Tesla, all these amazing wheels. They were great. But at some point, you're gonna have to be like, change and create something more amazing, right? But no, they just kept making the same thing over and over and over again. And I was more pointing it out to Gotway. Mostly I was pointing at most of the Gotway because Gotway makes amazing performance wheels without the amazing protection that you need for performance wheels. But then Kingsong came out and these wheels today, anything but dull. Like what? So another question I have is he says EUC Vibe says thanks Sensei. It was great meeting. Oh, so yeah, this guys, this is important. Like if you can meet someone out there to help you if you're new, that is, to learn to experience a brand new wheel, dude, that's priceless.
It is.
So another question I have is I already asked that question. How adjustable are the side pads? Okay. Will there be tilt back at 43 miles per hour, or will the tilt back be activated at a much lower speed, like 38 miles per hour? See, one of the most amazing things I like about both InMotion and Kingsong is that their tilt back feature is non-compromising and non-negotiable. So you can't negotiate it. It's just there. The problem I have with them is that because it's non-negotiable and because they literally prevent you from hitting the top end of what that wheel is capable of dishing out, they tend to draw it back like at least 3-4 miles before the top speed. So you're not experiencing the top speed, it
might kick in at like 38 or 39 miles an hour, somewhere around in there. Yeah,
exactly.
And then you have to force it almost ride the tilt back to get it to the 44. I guess you would have to do.
Exactly. You have, and it's not bad for most people. Most people won't care, but for riders like me, I freaking care, man, because I will rip that thing apart and try to make it go faster.
Yeah, you push your wheels, man.
Well, not just me, a lot. Yeah, but the thing is, this type of wheel needs to be pushed because it has everything you need. It has the power, it has the battery, it has the suspension, it has everything you need. The speedometer, come on, man. But yeah, that's so the InMotion V12, for example, that was one of their issues, right?
Yeah. It would get up to, it says 43, but you would start feeling a kickback, like 38, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to remember EVX's video. But yeah, it kicks in early. Now he said you can get it up there, but it's almost like you would have to push it and then you would have to ride the tilt back in a sense, But,
yeah, and that by itself is good. Okay, that's like idiot proof because it's not like Gotware where you have to feel it out, and then pull back once you feel the dip forward. That's great. I love it. But I just hope that it's 43 miles per hour plus 3-4 miles per hour buffer.
Well, Tommy can answer that for us too. He has the V12. Let's if he can pop in, the speed dampening or what it is, because he has the V12. Tommy, could you answer that for us, man? It's fast. I mean, I'm not sure what you've had it up to so far.
You're talking about Tommy from EUC Vibes?
Yeah, he has the V12.
No, he said he's in a car. So he said he's going to try to call in a little later if we're still on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, that. I think, like I said, I think Kingsong is the right company to do what they're doing because they offer that tilt back feature. I know you said you're waiting on what InMotion has to do, but I'm going to be the one that disagrees with you because I don't think.
Oh no, that's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think InMotion has anything in store for anything because they compromise a lot. That's the problem with InMotion.
See, this is my thing, like manufacturing, and that Gotway did it, man. Now they maybe didn't go as extensive as they could, but these companies get these wheels and they rip them apart, and they'll take and look and see what the other manufacturers are doing. So I guarantee you that Emotion had to take and look at an S18 and see, okay, this is what you guys are doing. Let's see what makes you tick. And I believe they're in a lab. I'm not going to sleep on them. I'm not going to say it's going to be a perfect wheel, but I am just really, I keep using the word curious, man. I just want to see what they're going to do, because
you have hope.
Because dude, they're in a position. They're in the best position right now because everyone has shown their cards and they haven't.
Yeah.
You know, they're in a powerful position right now to really make a move. So I'm just want to see what are they going to take advantage of it, and then because usually when my mind is set on what I'm going to get, I get it. Like I said, I wanted the V2, I got the V2. I always wanted the RS, I got the RS. So once my mind is pretty much set, I end up getting what I want. So
okay,
but I normally just take my time.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what they have to offer. Next question. Okay, so dude, when I heard this from EUC Vibes video, I was like, holy smokes, that is thinking forward. This is what exactly is Hall sensorless software technology? Did you hear about that?
I did. Well, I mean, in a nutshell, for me, from what I could see, it's what keeps you balanced. And that's what keeps you upright, and I think it's going to help prevent a lot of cutouts, because that was one of the main things with EUCs, man. We've all seen the cutout videos.
Yeah, so. And cutouts obviously has a lot to do with, overpowering the wheel, right?
Mm-hmm.
But do you know of many people having issues with their Hall sensors?
I really don't hear it much, man. I don't hear that many people having problems with the Hall sensor. But
there's only one group ride I've been on, and I recorded this in my video when I went out with the New Yorkers. There was one guy who crashed, and I'm not sure if it's because of his Hall sensor going bad, but he crashed because he couldn't figure out why he crashed. But he crashed, and then when he tried turning on his wheel again, it wouldn't balance. So,
then that was definitely the Hall sensor.
Yeah, David took it. We thought it was the board, whatever. David took it, and he found that it was the Hall sensor.
So that David Jansen, right?
Jansen, yeah.
Yeah, he knows his stuff about wheels.
Yeah, he took it apart, and it came out to be that the Hall sensor was because everything looked fine. Like, we took it apart in the video. We took it apart. We looked at the board. We looked at everything. Everything looked perfect. Like, no overheating, nothing. Unlike my high-speed MSP, where you could clearly see the capacitor blew. There was literally like a puff, out of the capacitor.
Looks like the bottom of an ashtray, man.
Yeah. That's crazy. It's like the wheel was smoking cigarettes. But no, this guy's wheel looked perfectly fine. And then when he took a look, someone took a look at the motor and found out, whoa, it's the Hall sensor. That's why it's not. So Hall sensor technology is great in the sense that, if something goes bad, you can still ride at least to where you need to get to, if that's what it is. I have no idea. They didn't expound on it, but it would be something great to try to get into here. So yeah, I'd really like to see what that is. Now, they say it's software. It's Hall sensorless software technology. So I'm not understanding why it's software. I'm not even sure how that.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that. But I mean, the base. I mean, when you really break it down, there's really not much to these things.
Yeah, but if you look, let's say if you have, I don't know how many Hall sensors are in a motor, but let's say you have 24 Hall sensors and one Hall sensor goes bad. Maybe they'll recalibrate, because the whole idea with Hall sensor is to detect magnetic. It detects rotation. I guess, and they use magnets to determine a bunch of things. Can somebody explain? But anyway, I don't see how it would work software wise. I have no idea. I would like more explanation about that. But the last question I have is, are the 12 MOSFETs redundant, or just placed in parallel or series or something like that in case some go bad? Because an overheat hill, that's where we've learned a lot about MOSFETs, is Marty burning them off.
Marty and Chooch is pretty much where I learned about MOSFETs. I know when you're up, over torquing a wheel and things like that, or going up a steep grade, usually that's the trouble they would have. MOSFETs burn out, man.
Yeah. So I looked up a few days ago, and I'll probably try to make a video on it. But there's something called the redundancy technology. So for those of you who don't understand, redundancy technology is basically I'm eating an apple. The apple goes bad. I have another apple that's pretty good, and I'll just keep eating. So that's basically what redundancy technology is. You have a bunch of MOSFETs, and then you have another set of MOSFETs that's there just in case some go bad. And then you'll have a relay or something, software relay, which is a hardware piece that flips the switch to the working piece. That way you're not out of the MOSFET.
Makes sense. So if one or two goes out, you're not out of the game.
You're not out of the game, exactly. Yeah. At which by that point it would probably throw an error, but it won't prevent you from riding your wheel.
Right.
So if that's what it is, damn. If not, I'm really curious to see what it is, because the alternative would be they just have more MOSFETs, and it's not redundant. It's just more. Because each MOSFET is
We're definitely going to find out soon.
Yeah, I need to find out.
I can't wait for that. Like I said, hopefully when Jack does that review video, the riding, he explains, goes further in depth on all that stuff.
Yeah, and this is why I went. So guys, if you have any questions to ask, because we're going to close the show, EUC Vibes, if you're still out, please chime in. Let me throw the link again if you're here. So anybody, we're going to close out soon. Please chime in. Let's see if there are any questions. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask Kingsong? Any questions at all?
I do have one. I guess, excuse me, I guess it's not a concern. Yeah, maybe a little concern. The wheel definitely looks like it's going to be top heavy. Now, I don't know.
That's true. That's a good point.
If that's a good thing or bad thing. I know they say with the V12, it's a little top heavy, but it handles well. So I'm kind of, I want to know how that's going to affect this wheel, because you're going to have the control board. You got the seat up there, you got the suspension sitting at the top.
I'll disagree with you a little bit. Here's why. Only because it seems like the battery placement. It's like the Sherman.
Batteries are very well placed, though. I mean, they look balanced.
Let's go to
that's on the sides, though.
Let's go to Ewheels.com, because at least Ewheels has a chart or a diagram showing you how tall they are in comparison to each other. So we can compare it that way. Where's that chart, man? No, where's the chart? Where's the chart?
Oh, I didn't see that chart. Nice.
Yeah, there's a chart showing you. I don't know where they put it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so if I zoom in. So by that, you can make your assumptions. You know what I mean?
Oh, it definitely looks tall, though. Oh, yeah. It's
so,
a tall. Because
is that who is that? Who's Mr. Let me let this person in real quick, okay? Sensei Vegan.
Yeah, do your thing, bro. Do your thing. It's been a pleasure, man.
No, you can stay. You're not going anywhere.
Okay.
Who is Mr. Brewer?
That's me.
Go ahead, chime in, man.
Oh, I just came to listen and see what was going on. Listen to the conversation.
Do you ride a wheel? Do you have an
I ride. Yeah, I ride. I just started riding like a month ago. I fucking fell off though, and fucked up broke my hip.
Oh, you're the one that broke your hip in the last live. You were mentioning that to Cobra.
Yeah.
Holy smokes, man! So
go ahead. How are you healing up?
It's doing better. It's doing better.
Okay.
About a week and a half in.
Wow. How long have you been riding?
About a month. Like a month.
And what wheel did you have? What wheel are you riding?
3.
What is it?
The T3.
The Tesla 3, yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad wheel. What caused your crash? Why did you crash? What happened?
I was doing too much. I was trying to deliver DoorDash, and I was looking at my phone and holding my phone in my hand and holding my bag and trying to look at my phone and hit a pothole that I didn't get to see in time.
Ooh. And Sensei Vegan, you can talk to the Tesla. I mean, it's a low pedal wheel. It's a 16-inch tire. It's very thin. I think it's 2.125 inches wide. So it's not really the wheel you want to mess around with on your phone.
Right.
Nah,
Yeah, I learned my lesson, definitely.
I tell every Tesla owner, man, throw a 2.5 tire on that thing. That's what I did. And it just makes that wheel, it almost feels like a mini MSX or something. It's crazy how that tire just changed the whole characteristics of it.
Oh, yeah,
I actually I changed the tire and I raised the pedals on it. Yeah, it's crazy. It feels like an MSX, just lighter. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if I could change the tire on that, but I wasn't sure because I didn't see any videos on YouTube about it yet.
UC Chronicles and Sensei, right?
Yeah, EUC Chronicles has one up there. I have one.
That's the T2 though, is that right?
It still fits. It'll still fit on there.
Still
Yeah,
fits.
it'll still fit on there. Yeah, I mean the body styles are pretty much the same. I think you're going through a hollow motor, but that doesn't even matter. It's still pretty much the same. It'll fit.
Okay. Yeah, Simon asked how easy it is to tire change the S20. I mean, I would love to see that. I would love to see that because the Tesla is a really difficult wheel. It's not difficult. It's just when you do it the first time, it's difficult. It takes a long time, man.
Dude, I watched your video. I watched your video, Stride. I had a headache, dude.
I purposely put that on there. I purposely made it that long because I was so upset.
Yeah, that was rough.
I was not interested in showing a shorter version because I did it wrong the first time. I didn't know what I was doing. Then I did it correctly. So I left it long because I wanted to show that this is ridiculous.
Yeah, Marty has a great video how to change a tire on the V2, and it makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna change the tire and put something wider on there.
Yeah, we recommend that. Let me see what else I can say to you, man. You said you broke your hip.
Yeah, I fractured it. I didn't have to get surgery though.
Okay. Good. I want to see how bad that was. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you still riding? Are you stubborn? Are you that type of rider who's stubborn?
No, I can't ride right now. I can't even put like more than 50% pressure on my right leg.
Wow. But you're going to continue riding then when you heal up.
Yeah, right? I'm definitely going back to riding as soon as I can walk.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
Well, thanks for chiming in, man. Do you have a deposit on a new wheel?
Yeah, I got one on the Commander actually.
My man. See? Finally, someone. Yeah. Now, why? Why? Obviously for speed and range, right?
Yeah, for the range and for the speed, honestly, so I can take it anywhere I want, basically. Except for besides on the highway, I'm definitely not doing that.
Now, obviously, I'm not gonna recommend the Commander to you. It's your decision. But if you buy the Commander, or when you buy the Commander, I recommend you park that thing, get more experience on your Tesla. Take that Commander in the back roads, where there are not many cars, the park.
Right.
Just get away from street, get away from any type of distraction, so you could really appreciate that wheel because it's very heavy. It's it's very heavy, way different than the
Tesla.
Yeah, I can believe that because at first I thought the Tesla was outrageously heavy. I couldn't believe how heavy it was.
Yeah,
and this person asked, were you wearing any gear?
Oh yeah, I was wearing everything besides knee pads. I didn't have any knee pads on yet.
You see, so what's interesting is I always say that, well, I don't always say it, but what I would like to say is wearing gear is not necessarily the answer to everything. Because even if you're wearing gear, sometimes that gear can be a detriment to how you ride. It can interfere with your riding. So what you need to really know how to do is learn how to ride, know your wheel, know your environment. Gear is essential, but gear by itself is almost as not wearing gear because, like you said, you were wearing gear and look what happened. You still hurt yourself.
Yeah.
It's one thing too is learning how to fall. I know it because depending on how you fall, you can have all the gear on. If you hit at the wrong angle, something's breaking or something's getting fractured. Right. I know when I was flying through the air, dude, I literally had to twist my body around so I could hit the ground and roll. Yeah, that's what I would just tucked everything in, and I'm just like, oh man, let me just get my body in position so when I hit the ground, I can roll it out. Yeah, people have to learn how to fall, man.
Yeah, I didn't even think I was gonna fall, but like it was like a a pothole with like it was like a speed bump and then a dip and then another speed bump on the other side of the pothole. So like the first one, I kind of caught the wheel, and then it kind of turned on me, and then I hit the next one and it bounced me completely off, and
That's it, man. It just upset everything. Wow.
Yeah.
So you made the first one, but the second one.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, get better, please. Get better. Take your time. Know your wheel, know your environment, and know your own limits. You know what I mean?
Right.
All right. Take care, man.
All right. Thank you.
Later.
So back to what we were talking about, Sensei. These are the heights, and then we're gonna close off, guys. And unless you guys have questions, or unless you want to chime in, I will put the link in one more time. Maybe people are nervous or something. But here you have. Don't be nervous. You don't even have to show your camera. But here are the heights, the different heights and widths of the wheel. So we're gonna look at you said the S20. So if you look at the S20, right, and let's compare it to a wheel that we know is good in terms of balance, the Sherman. Okay, so the Sherman, it's the same height as the Sherman.
Really? Wow. Okay.
It's 36.6 inches. Is it inches? Yeah, inches. It's 36.6 inches high, and the Sherman is 36 point. They're both 36.6.
Look at that. What is the Abrams? Do they have the Abrams? I know the Abrams looks a little tall. What is the Abrams?
Where is where is it? Right here. There it is. So the Abram is it's 37.4 inches high.
Look at that. See, I guess the shape of it, especially the Abrams, it just makes it look like it's even higher. And I think the angle of the seat on the S20 just makes it look like it's even higher. So, okay. So that's pretty compact then.
That's why I also look. And if you look at the width, that's very important too, because now that's going to determine how you ride. So when you have if you have your legs spread out, that means you're going to have more control over your wheel. That's what I think. Initially, it's going to be freaking awkward as freak. But
yeah,
the KS20 is 13 inches wide.
Okay.
And the Sherman is 7.7 inches wide. So when I got into Sherman, I felt complete control.
I was surprised, dude.
When I
rode the Sherman, and I got, like I said, I got it up to 30, a little over 30 probably, and I was like, wow, this thing feels amazing. And it just wants to go. That's the scariest part of the Sherman, I think, is that it's like you can get that thing up, and it's like that's all you got. You know, I could take a lot more. That thing it's an amazing wheel.
It's a very torquey wheel for its weight at the time.
I was surprised.
You just have to give it a little in the beginning, but once you get going, it's amazing. If you look at the Abrams though, which is its competitor, the Abrams is the Commander, I'm sorry, which is its competitor. It's 35.4 inches high. So it's lower.
It's even lower.
It's
Look
lower.
at that. Okay, I got to check that out. That's awesome. I didn't know that was up there.
It's lower. It's a little bit heavier by 3 pounds, 3.5 pounds or so. Let's see the width. It's wider as well. Makes sense. Bigger batteries.
That's something riders have to remember too. You always want to add an extra 2 pounds onto your wheel. I would say minimum 2 pounds, because once you add the pads, you know, your little customization things and the seat and everything, you're going to up the weight of it too. So always add like a couple additional pounds to your wheel, maybe at least 2 pounds.
So by comparison, if you want to really get an understanding of what you're buying in terms of the KS20, let's compare it to a wheel that we all know about, the Monster. The KS20 and the Monster in terms of dimensions. So the KS20 is 36.6 inches high. The Monster is 36.6 inches high.
Wow. Wow.
That's a big wheel.
That's a big boy. That's a big boy. And the thing is too, we have to find out how they're stacking those components in there too.
Yeah.
What's at the top and what's at the bottom. More than likely, the batteries are more so at the bottom on the S20 than all the components will be riding at the top.
Well, the batteries look like it goes all the way to the top, from the bottom all the way to the. Well, the first 3/4 of the wheel is just tire. I mean, first third. The first third of the wheel is just tire.
It's just
and then
tire.
From there, it's just battery.
Battery, and then I guess sandwiched.
The board is in the middle.
In the middle and then riding. I guess it's sandwiched in between all that stuff at the top too, because you remember you have that tire in there.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then if you look at the width of the monster, it's 10.2 inches, and the KS20 is wider by 3 inches.
See, I have a wide stance when I ride too. My stance is kind of wide.
Wow.
But I would definitely like to ride that thing first.
That's. But you know, and then we're gonna close. The most interesting thing, though, I can compare. Oh, thank you, B Full F. Thank you, Big Full F. He said, first time tuning in, love your content. Question: where can someone learn to build? Okay, that's easy. I had a link here. Hold on, Anyway, you could just go online and type in 3D printed electric unicycle. Just type in 3D printed electric unicycle. Wait, yeah. So 3D printed electric unicycle, and you can learn a lot that way.
Oh, he wants to make his own unicycle?
Unless I'm reading it wrong. He said,
yeah, I can't see.
Where can someone learn to make or build EUCs? So go to
okay.
Yeah, just go to Google and type in 3D printed EUCs. They have everything you need, from how to print it, the dimensions, the board, the app, everything, and then you can build your own.
Oh, I'm sure you could definitely build one. I mean, you can buy all the separate components and piece one together. It would almost be like you know how the company Rough, they would take a Porsche and just max that thing out, take a stock Porsche.
I know what you mean, man.
I'm surprised. Yeah, you can do it with an EUC too.
Yeah. So yeah, this is I forgot what I was gonna say, but that's oh yeah, this is what I was gonna say. I hate when I lose my thought and then end the show and I'm like, oh,
dude, this is exciting, man. It's just like,
dude, if I had money, like,
dude,
I would fly.
Oh, if I had the money, dude, you'd have a box sitting right. You wouldn't have to buy nothing, dude. You'd have a couple boxes sitting right on your porch. I'm telling you, man. Let's ride. Let's ride.
The difference between, and this is how the KS20 stands out from all of these other wheels. All of them, even the Hero. It has less body.
It does.
Less body. So it's more, you're riding a skeleton.
Yeah, it can be a gift or a curse, depending on how
it can be a gift or a curse.
Depending on how it's built, man. Yeah, because there's really not much. I mean, you have the pads on the side and straight battery pack, inside of the case, I guess. But
what's interesting is, and he just gave me a good thought. Hate Mail says the longer the suspension.
Hate Mail, I like the name.
The longer the suspension travel, the taller the wheel. That makes sense, because when you get on the wheel, depending on how you set it up, it's definitely going to go down.
It's going to crunch down. Yeah, it's going to sink.
Yeah.
So that'll be more than enough travel for me in my ride.
130, you're looking at a mountain bike, dude. It's a mountain bike.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mountain. You're in mountain biking territory. You can actually go off-roading now and not worry about it. That's what I'm curious about.
That's definitely fun, dude.
Because I used to mountain bike when I first came to the US. I used to do that, but I haven't done it in a while. Anyway, that was the KS20 questions for Kingsong. These are my questions. Someone else had a question about price, light speed. Honestly, light speed. That's hopefully they lower the price, but I don't see a problem with the price when I compare it with the other wheels. To be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that price is pretty much going to be stuck where it is. I don't think it's gonna. Hopefully, it doesn't go up, but I don't see it coming down. Now, like I said, Emotion might come in and beat them out by a few $100s. We'll see, but yeah, I think the price.
One last thing I want to mention, Sensei. One last thing. I keep saying one last thing, but you can never end with these things. It has a hollow motor.
Yeah.
Isn't that a problem?
Well, I think what they're doing now, because I have that on.
He's trying to connect. Let me see if I can give him the link. There you go, EC Vibes. Try to connect. But yeah, it has a hollow motor.
Well, I have the hollow motor on the RS, but I know now it's smaller. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that big, huge bearing in it, so it's a lot better. But I know those hollow motors, you can definitely get a lot of torque out of those things.
Okay.
Did you ever ride a RS? I think
no.
Did you ride?
No.
Yeah, dude.
I think my next wheel will be an RS.
Well, dude, if you're going to the rally, you can definitely ride mine. And
okay.
Know,
you have one. Wow.
I have one. You can. It's the highest. It's not the torque. It's the high speed. But yeah, man, go ahead and run it through its paces.
I think my next wheel.
Reset the alarms on it.
Yeah, the RS is a beautiful wheel. How does it feel compared to? Have you ever ridden the MSP?
I did. I got to ride Michael's Deuce Allen's MSP, and
but have you? I know you tried it, but have you actually got to experience it?
I did. I rode it. I mean, I didn't push it to its breaking point. You know what I mean? But if you're coming from an MSX MSP and jumping on an RS, you're gonna get the same feeling. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So
it's that short. I'm sorry, that it has that powerful, short, compact style to it, and I think you like that because I hear you talk about that a lot in your videos. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's that portable, compact power. I think it has the best of everything in that style of a wheel. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, you know? It's an off-roading wheel with a hollow motor. I don't know, man. I've heard issues with the hollow motor, so I don't know. I don't know much about hollow motor. Maybe that's another video. Could do more research.
Yeah, I think them narrowing down. They made the hole actually smaller now. It's not as big, so I think it's cutting down on a lot of issues, and they're sealing it up now too. Okay. You know, the bearings are being sealed. So
yeah, it says here hefty motor providing 160. My guess is Newton meters of torque, because that's how you measure torque. Allows for quick acceleration whilst ensuring there's not a hill you can't climb. Words. But at the bottom, it does say 7,500 peak watts. So words match with some good specs there. So
yeah, this is gonna be a machine, bro. This is
That's crazy. Anyway, EUC Vibes, I'm not sure why you're not able to chime in. But yeah, this was a great live.
I had fun. I appreciate you having me on. Let me come in and
man, you gotta come in.
Pleasure.
You gotta
it's a pleasure, man.
Gotta share your stuff. This is the other live I was trying to set up is completely different setup. It's a completely different. You know what I try to do is I'll have the the opening and then the like a little chat about what we're gonna talk about, and then I'll have the video, and then from the video you'll have the monologue, and then I have people chime in. This one's just, hey, we have a topic to talk about. Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Yeah, good stuff.
But these wheels are coming out soon. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, man. I'm very curious. But this does look promising, though. Overall, at the end of the day, it looks promising.
It does. I mean, you've been here a long time, and if you're going back to the air wheels and the 9-bots, and you're looking at this thing, dude, it's like.
Oh my gosh! Like this is
like,
and you know what's interesting? If you go to Ewheels, if you go to Ewheels.com, by the way, Ewheels is sourcing out another. You mentioned that battery company. But that's the most important part about electric unicycles is the battery. The motor is good, the looks is good, but if you don't have the battery to match the power, to match the motor, you can have. I think one of those air wheels had like a motor that was like very powerful, like 2,200 watts, but the battery was nowhere near what.
That's the problem. You cut that thing out, man. You lean forward too.
You're going down.
And you're going down
if you lean too hard. But guys, it was a pleasure. Sensei, are there any last words?
Just get out there, man. Get you a wheel. Enjoy the process of learning how to ride, and then just upgrade from there. You know what I mean? Don't jump in water that's too deep and you can't swim.
Yep.
Just enjoy the process, gear up, and if you have a chance to go to a group ride, that's a great way to ride different unicycles. I'm in Jersey. I'm doing rides. If anybody wants to ride with me, you're more than welcome. You can contact me on Instagram. Be happy. If someone wants to learn how to ride, I can teach people how to ride as well. But yeah, man, just enjoy the process and be safe out there.
EUC Vibes happen to have made it, so let's let him have the last words.
All right.
Go ahead, EUC Vibes. What's up?
What's up, guys? How's it going?
What's happening, bro? Nice.
What up, Sensei?
What's happening, brother Tom? How you doing, brother?
How you guys doing?
Fantastic.
How are you?
Chilling. Pretty good. Can't complain. I'm on UStride podcast, so how could I complain? You know?
Yeah, we you know what we're talking about, so chime in, man.
Yeah, the S20. It sounds like you don't love it, but it's pretty interesting.
No, I like it.
love it so much.
I actually like it. It's just my questions are very harsh because, I mean, the stuff I'm seeing is I'm seeing great presentation, and even the video from Electric Dreams was promising. But like I said, it just looks like if it can't take a crash. You know, that's my main concern. The rear of the shock system, the suspension system is exposed. The Sensei Vegan mentioned it. The kickstand looks like if you hit that thing, because you know how these wheels crash. They don't crash in a linear one direction. They crash all over the place. So you have a modular light system. You have the mud guard, which is also the kickstand. You have the exposed chamber. I mean, it just, you have small, I'm not sure if these are plastic pieces right here or metal or some type of reinforced, you know, type of thing. You just have a lot
like durable
going
plastic.
on.
Yeah.
Huh?
I think it's like durable plastic. Like,
right, exactly.
Some parts are made out of hard plastic.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm just asking these questions only because I want to be the one to do that. I'm sure a lot of people ask those questions too, but I'm just saying, like, you're gonna spend $3,300. Someone is already saying the price might end up going up to $3,500. I mean, I'm having that thought because of the S18. The S18, when it came out, it was designed for off-roading, but then what we found out was the reinforced plastic that's inside that's supposed to keep the shell, the body together was terribly done, you know?
Yeah, I remember that. I never had one myself, but I remember watching on YouTube people complaining about that. So I hope they get everything right the first time with this wheel.
Right, and I think, and ironically, I think that's those complaints allowed them to come up with this wheel, because look what they did. They just got rid of the body.
Yeah, pretty much.
Basically, yeah.
You have a problem with the body? Get rid of the body. How do you like them bones? So
we better not complain about anything else, or else I'll just start getting rid of it.
What kind of, you've been on top of this EUC Vibes, like you really have been. What kind of questions do you have, man?
Yeah, I've been obsessed with all these new wheels, and I was actually at a group ride last night, and no, 2 nights ago, and it was pretty interesting what the New York City crowd was saying about these new wheels.
What were they saying?
A lot of guys kind of shared your opinion, like they're a little skeptical about the S20, you know? They
in what area?
Look a little fragile.
In what area? Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
that looks a little fragile.
Because we know New Yorkers, that's what they do. And I like them for that. They crash the wheel. So for example, the Sherman, when it came out, we looked at those beautiful bars. They looked beautiful until you gave them to the New Yorkers. But honestly, the Sherman held its own. The Sherman held its own.
It held its own. It held its own.
So now that's
I still remember that video with Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So now that's the standard. That's the standard. So now you're gonna have Alex try this thing, and if you crash this thing, oh man, nice.
Yeah, Alex, if you're watching this, we need you to try this wheel. Oh, thanks.
We need you to go on.
See you.
That's fine.
Do you have a Sherman too? Do you have a Sherman?
Yep, I got a Sherman too.
Yeah, got the Sherman. Hey, so I do have a question, man. For because you have the V12, how does the V12 feel? Is it a top heavy wheel?
it doesn't really feel top heavy because I've always kept the pedals on the highest setting. So I think that helps because I'm closer to like the center of the wheel.
Okay.
But maybe if I put them lower, it might feel top heavy.
Gotcha.
But it kind of reminds me of the RS, but thinner. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of the RS. Like when I ride it, sometimes I never limit myself when I'm riding it. Like, say if I would pick up the Z10 coming from the RS, I'd be like, oh, you know, I can't push this wheel too crazy because it's just a Z10. Right. But with the V12, when I ride it, I just ride it the same way I would with the RS.
Ride it straight.
So I really like it. And it makes like really tight turns. It's pretty dope. So I think the Black Cobra is gonna bring it to that Wheel Life rally.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you guys going to that?
Oh, I'm there. Yeah.
I plan on. Yeah.
I just gotta find. I gotta find out what time it is though. I don't know what time the event's happening. It's another day, so I have to talk to Cobra.
Yeah, I gotta look into it too. I want to go though.
No, I'm looking forward to it. I can't run hard though. That's my problem. So I'm going there.
Just enjoy yourself, man.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna do. I don't want to. I can't full send it.
Yeah, me either. Yep.
So Caleb Rada says, so a MOSFET is a soft relay. Both the number and size of the MOSFET is important. Kingsong has at least in the S1812 of the fattest MOSFETs in the business. So in the S18, they also had 12 MOSFETs. So this is nothing new, if that's true.
But, oh, nice.
If it's true, I don't know. I haven't checked. This is someone who probably knows their stuff. So he says, where a relay switches on and off, MOSFET is more like a throttle. No, I know what a MOSFET does, and I think I'll create a video on that. But my question is it in parallel, acting as a redundant system, or is it just more MOSFETs?
Right. I totally understand what you're asking.
Yeah, UC Vibes. We were just comparing, and then we got to go. We were just comparing the height and the width of the...
Yeah, sorry I caught the end. I was driving around.
To the Monster. I mean, just to get a comparison here, look at this, man. The S20 is the same height as the Monster. But someone mentioned the suspension travel is part of that reason. So once you get on it, it's gonna sink down, you know?
Sink down.
Oh yeah.
I'll be able to ride. I'll be able to ride sitting down. That's my problem. My legs are so long, dude.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And I try to ride like my RS. The seat is. I have to get a custom seat put on that thing because my feet feel like a kangaroo underneath me. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I tried the stock seat too. I can't do it.
Can't do it, bro.
But that's one of my concern with the S20, the pads. If you see how I ride, my foot is forward.
Yeah.
But they said they can take it off. What is that thing?
This is from Russia also. It's a seat that clips onto the RS, and it got the handle that you could lift it up. Because I figured, because I blocked the handle on my case, they gave you the option to block your handle.
I did the same thing.
Actually, my bad. I shouldn't even show it. Don't even worry about this case. You guys need to get the UStride U-Rail. Forget about this whack case. I forgot that you guys.
I need to find a way to make it.
This case is trash.
It's right over there, but I need to make it, man. I don't have the skills. I need to really get on this. I don't know. See, the thing is, I took on
the prototype.
I still have it. It's right there. How do you say it? I bit more than I could chew.
Not necessarily, dude. You actually did it.
I did it, but I can't reproduce it. I don't know how to reproduce it.
Never say can't. We can talk about that, dude. I was actually thinking about that.
Well, no, I did say can't. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I won't say can't.
You just have to find a way. But no, there's ways. There's ways to do it.
Yeah, there's ways.
Even like a Kickstarter for the S21.
That is true. Oh my God.
That is true.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Yeah. Because the thing is, the companies, right? When I went to them, what they said was, we can't make one or two. We need to make a batch, and then it'll be cheaper for you. So that's what I need to do.
Oh, right. And you were trying to get it made in Boston, right?
Boston's the worst.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You might have to go somewhere else to another state.
Yeah.
Where you can maybe get 100 of those things made and get them made a whole lot cheaper.
Yeah, Boston's terrible in terms of price. Yeah. But guys, thanks for chiming in.
I was getting plastic cut.
What's that?
Oh yeah.
What was that? Oh
no, I was just saying about location. I was getting plastic cut in New York City, and they were charging me $50 to cut a little circle.
No,
and
dude.
I get it in the suburbs 20 minutes away. I get it for $5 now.
No,
it's a laser cut.
Dude, yeah, right.
Yeah, crazy. Boston's
Huge
expensive.
difference,
New
man.
York is expensive.
Yeah.
But last words, guys. Last words. Fire round. Last words. Whatever.
Favorite.
How about this? I'll steer you. I'll steer you in the right direction. Do you feel that these companies finally have listened to pretty much the majority of the EUC community in the way they delivered those wheels to us? Most def. Same here. Absolutely.
I said no.
Think, yeah.
And you said no?
I think
nope.
I think in some cases, yes.
I think they did. I think they have. EUC Vibes, explain why quickly.
I got one complaint really quick. Is that it's gonna sound crazy, but the S20 should have came with the Abrams rail, and the Abrams should have came with the S20 suspension. So if they listened to us, both companies would have incorporated both of those pluses, and we would have had 2 ultimate wheels. You know, that's how I feel. And the Hero 2 should have a rail, and the other wheel too.
Yeah, good point.
The Commander.
I think that should be standard on most ECs now. Is the case.
Man. Seriously.
But if I'm not mistaken, I think that
do we all have rails and suspensions?
Is a tubeless tire, right? I believe it's a tubeless tire.
Yes,
you can actually add a tire liner in there. I remember I made a video on this thing, a V liner, and I had a mountain biker come in and say, I don't understand why EUC riders aren't putting these, tire liners in there. Basically, it's like 2.5 inches of a thick foam. That's suspension, dude, because it gives. And plus, you put the air in the tire.
Damn.
So anyone that gets an Abrams, you throw that tire liner in there, dude. That's suspension. Think about that. If look up the video,
right, I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, it's the V liner, and they do the video and they show them riding over like 2x4s and riding over like logs and stuff, and you can literally see it, the tire compressed, but you're not banging the rim. You're not getting any rim bangers.
It's better than slime. It sounds like.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, you can. The thing is, you can put slime in there too. So if you get a hole, it's going to fill it out.
Ooh.
But the main thing is, man, you have 2.5 inches of that foam in there, and that's just going to absorb a lot of the shock and the bumps.
Interesting.
I pre-ordered the S20 and the Abrams, but I don't know how I'm paying for either.
That's funny, dude. These are the 2 wheels I want. These are the 2 wheels I'm actually considering. Is the S20 and the Abrams. I'm not the Abrams. Whoa.
Oh wow! What a coincidence. Oh,
No.
The
Commander.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I was gonna be like, finally.
I would rather get a
Everybody
used
likes different
Sherman.
wheels.
I'd rather get a used Sherman than the Abrams. But I like the Abrams. It's still nice. I like it.
I'm selling my Sherman to get the Abrams.
Dude, I fell in love with the Sherman.
I don't know. I like
man.
that tire clearance.
Yeah.
On the bottom.
That's true. But I mean, the Sherman for me is a cruiser wheel, man. There's no other wheel I've experienced like that wheel, man. Oh my gosh, like on the road.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
It's amazing. I could just go, man. Like wow.
I had to tell myself, just don't push it. When I was on, I was like, nah, dude, just don't. Because I was on a bike path, and I didn't want anyone yelling at me, so I was like, I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
It's awesome.
Okay, now last words.
There's like no limits on it.
Last words, guys. Last words.
I don't. Dude, just have fun. When you get out there and you ride, be safe, have fun. I think I said that before. Just enjoy it, man. Wheel life is the best life. Have fun with it. This is some of the best times I've had in years learning how to ride, man. And the people you meet, the community, like Stride, Tommy. I mean, I've met some amazing people. Yeah, man. That's all I gotta say, man. Ride your wheel like you hate it. Be safe.
Yeah, that's so nice.
Ride it like you hate it, man. That's it.
EUC Vibes, go ahead. Your turn.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely stay safe out there, guys. It's a dangerous sport. It's a lot of fun. It's the most fun I've ever had just riding. Feels like I'm skiing through cement. It's sick. Thank you to UStride and Sensei Vegan. I've been watching your guys' videos since like before I was even on YouTube. You guys make some dope content. So thanks to both of you guys, and it was great to be on the show. I really appreciate it.
No, thanks for coming in, man.
And
guys,
oh yeah.
till next time, this was a great show, way better than the last show. Peace. Have a good night. See you guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Later.
And with very little energy and effort, I can put the shock through a lot of movement. And you can see those three springs touch each other. What does that mean when we ride the bike? Well, when you have a progressive spring, it offers tension. And as the spring collapses or expands, that tension, that rate of the spring changes. So as you compress it, it's soft initially and then it firms itself up because these wires touch each other, which makes the spring stiffer. So the spring is trying to cope with a range of rider, a range of road conditions, and then of course, torque and power from an engine. So the deeper you go in the stroke, the firmer the spring is in terms of its rate. So depending on what you have, how you ride, what your weight is, we can see the shock shaft. What's dirty, what's clean. Is the progressive spring right for you? And then if you have to go in and adjust it with the lock rings, then it's going to stiffen the spring up through a certain part of the stroke because it's a progressive spring. It won't stiffen the whole spring. And that's the one thing to remember in the difference with linear and progressive. Adding preload is great, but realistically, does it stop it bottoming out or using as much travel as you did before? Based on the way you ride and that spring, you're going to have to figure it out by seeing what's dirty and what's clean on the shock shaft. Now on a scrambler, when we look at this spring, the gap in the winds is the same all the way down. So the shape in terms of diameter at the top and the bottom is the same. So this could be, without measuring it, they could have a logical assumption here that this is a straight rate spring. Now with aftermarket suspension, generally you're gonna get straight rate springs, forks and shocks. So then that brings into question, what's the sag, where are you, what are the numbers, is the spring too soft or too stiff for you? And the difference with a linear spring is that no matter how much you compress it, the stored energy in that spring is the same. That's why it's labeled as linear. So if we add preload, it's only going to rebound at a certain rate, simply because the rate of the spring doesn't change when it's compressed and released. So with a linear spring, once you set rebound for that spring for a little while, and we'll go into why with oil and viscosity and age, that setting can stay there if you adjust your preload up and down to get your travel and the amount you use set correctly. On a progressive spring, if you change the preload and you change it significantly by a couple turns or more, you have to reset the rebound because the stored energy is going to be different in the way that that shock rides. So linear springs, generally once you set the tension, you can set the rebound. If you change the tension, you shouldn't have to change the rebound. The caveat there is oil and oil age. We have to service forks and shock. We service them quicker than we used to because with the viscosity of oil cold to hot, we don't want a variance. So if you're changing fork oil every 6,000 and you're changing shock oil about the same for a road bike,
never ridden a wheel with a suspension, it really is very different. Your legs just don't need to do all the shocking all the time. It really does eat up a lot of those bumps. I can smash into things. I stay in control. The housing is not what it should be. This is a prototype. It's really slippery dirt. I'm gonna try this again. prototype, so I'm not going to go into too much detail about how the performance is, because there's a lot of things that are still being tweaked, but the suspension is the biggest question, so I wanted to address that with you guys. The suspension, I'm not fully engaging. I'm still kind of just playing with it and trying to get a feel of it right now. There's like a little knob that you toggle back and forth and that locks the shock or not. And the other one kind of changes the hardness of the shock. I know a lot of people have been like asking, like, can you swap out that shock with something else? It's a standard shock size, so you can get your Fox shock if you want, or whatever else, without any special tools. It's not perfect, but it's nice. It's really nice. I think it's really important to remember that this is still a prototype, and the production units, the ones that are going to come out of the mold, are going to be more structurally sound, and they're not going to be cracked. I'm getting this question a lot. Which one's better, the V11 or the S18? One of the things that makes the S18 special is that the weight of the battery, the frame, the pedals are all separated from the wheel. So the wheel is moving independently from the other weight. The link suspension that they're using is going to be made of CNC'd aluminum that's gone through some super hard anodization process. So it's going to be robust. I mean, I've crashed this thing already. I haven't landed on it, and it seems to be pretty well protected within the frame. So I'm not really that concerned about breaking it. Well, maybe I should, but I haven't broken it yet. So yes. So inside, I don't know if you can tell,
there's an internal fender that protects the suspension from the tire. And for the tire, it's a nice 18 by 3 incher, which has become the most popular wheel size for good reason. It's big enough to eat up